Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI S.E.T, and use the code S.E.T. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is S.E.T and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor. Yo, and we are live. Yo, this is S.E.T with S.E.T Media, guys, and I'm back with another one. All right, guys, we're about to go ahead and get into Team Maha making an announcement. That's pretty much Trump, RFK Jr., and Dr. Oz and, well, subordinates. And then we're going to go ahead and do a media analysis. All right, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, and let's get right into it.
Thank you very much. So I've been waiting for this meeting for 20 years, actually.
And shout out to my man Monty, already starting us off. He said, let's open up the lines. And to be honest, Monty, I honestly think I am probably going to need you for this one. I took notes, but you got way better medical knowledge than me, obviously. And you know how to pronounce most of these words.
And it's not that everything's 100% understood or known, but I think we've made a lot of strides. Wish it was done a long time ago. Today, we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism. Horrible, horrible crisis. I want to thank the man who brought this issue to the forefront of American politics along with me. And we actually met in my office. Is it like 20 years ago, Bobby? It's probably 20 years ago in New York. I was a developer, as you probably heard, and I always had very strong feelings about autism and how it happened and where it came from. And he and I don't know, the word got out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot.
And it does seem that we're trying to pinpoint the exact cause of the rise in autism. Now, here's the problem. What RFK Jr. says about the vaccine being the cause or even the Tylenol is all speculative. This is pretty much just a just-in-case measure. But, yeah, we are trying to figure out why there's been a huge spike in autism. I don't know. Maybe it's a classification of it. Maybe we just got better with, tracking it. Who knows? But, all right, guys, shout out to my man Monty. Says, send me the link. Don't worry. The link has already been posted in the post tab. And shout out my man Maine. He says, let's go, Monty.
A lot more than a lot of people who studied it, we think.
Turn that down.
And I say we think because I don't think they were really letting the public know what they knew. Thanks as well to the director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it. 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday for boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys, 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation. And the first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, yeah, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. Mm-hmm. I heard none.
Really?
See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups.
Hold on.
Yeah, what's up, Monty?
Because this is getting out of hand. So they're studying the Amish for the group of people that don't want to be integrated with society. So now they're suddenly subjecting themselves to psych evals and counselors and all that fun stuff. I don't understand how.
Oh no, what he's saying is pretty much that. Well, if we're trying to when tracking autism in the Amish community, seeing that they don't take none of our medicines,
how are you tracking? That's
and
what
all
I'm saying,
that
though.
stuff.
How are you tracking that? How are you tracking that? They don't get like typical. They don't seek out mental health care. They don't seek out health care really at all.
I'm pretty sure they went. And I'm pretty sure if we look it up, we can probably find out when they went out there and ran. Or here's the thing, maybe they didn't. I mean, you're right. There could be there could be a whole lot of autism going on just unreported,
just completely undiagnosed. It's like when Trump was talking about the reason we had more reported cases of COVID is because we were testing at higher rates than other countries. So you have more positives because you have a link between how much you test and how much you get back positives. Like it's a circular argument to say that they don't take any medication, so they don't have autism.
I'm pretty sure we can survey them, and then I'm pretty sure they can run a survey with them and be like, well, does your kids experience this, that, and the third? And if they're like, no, but they don't, then they can go off word of mouth. But I think, yeah, you're right. That probably the best thing they can do is word of mouth to get a good,
but that's not accurate. But the word you just said, accurate, that's not accurate at all.
Well, most accurate we can get with it.
Hold on, Set. Hold on. I could ask you 5 questions right now that are all quote unquote symptoms of autism and diagnose you with autism just based off of your answers, right?
Yeah, but think about it like this though. They're probably talking to members in the community, like the teachers and all that good stuff, and they're probably asking them.
But you'd think, but I've never heard of this research.
I know, me neither. That's what I'm saying. But I'm assuming that's what I'm saying. We have to do a little bit of deeper research before we just say outright, "Oh, well, I'm casting doubt on it."
Yeah.
Maybe there's something out there that we missed to where they were asking the Amish people, or maybe they was able to get them to line up in front of our rural hospital somewhere
But
and be like, let's test things out.
because I watched this press conference, RFK did bring up a very, very good point. Um, so autism obviously is on a spectrum, right? And your profoundly autistic side of that spectrum is, nonverbal, not able to care for themselves, not do ADLs. ADL stands for activities of daily living, but not able to care for themselves essentially. That go find me someone that's 70 years old that uh, has profound quote unquote autism. It is absolutely on the rise in the United States. I don't know about the world, but it is an interesting thing because we are having more and more and more kids born with extreme levels of autism,
Mhm.
and so much so that when I was a kid, our like for my
Hold on,
whole
Martha. Before you
school.
go too far into it, remember, let's get back to the video before we go
All
too
right.
far into it.
They have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen, acetaminophen. Is
Yes.
that okay?
Bro, bro,
Which is
it's
basically
acetaminophen.
commonly known as
Oh,
Tylenol
I see the benefit.
during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, uh, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a
Okay.
Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly.
All right, so I looked it up. I said Amish autism study. And what research has been done? The prevalent study, one study screened about 1,900 Amish children ages 3 to 21 in two large Amish counties, Holmes County, Ohio. Hey, nice. And Elkhart County, Indiana. They use a standard screening tools, followed by more, detailed evaluations for positives. The results are about 1 in 271 Amish children were identified as having autism via those screening and diagnosis. And where is this coming from? This comes from, AMFAR conference, which look a little bit more into if I can get the full read on them. But yeah, that's where they're getting that number from.
Can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it, and you shouldn't take it during the entire, and you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little child, little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good instead of one visit where they pump the baby loaded up with stuff. You'll do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times. I mean, I've been so into this issue for so many years just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen. And it's artificially induced. It's not like something that when you go from all of those healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it. And that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible. I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel the uh, mumps, measles, and all the three should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better. So let it be separate. The chicken pox is already separate because when that got mixed in, I guess they made it four for a while. It really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside in doing it. It's not like, oh, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis
Y'all
B
are wild,
is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give
bruh.
a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So
Why
I
is
would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. And I think if you do those things,
And all right, I'm gonna go ahead and read this super chat out from Sid. So shout out Sid. Don't take a cedar a cedar menafif. Okay, bro. What? It's only good can happen. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Don't take a cedar metafif. It's only good can help.
bro,
Only good can happen. It's
bro?
only good can
If you guys want it, if you guys want an easy way to pronounce it, it's I see the minnow fin. But say it
I
fast.
see the
I see the
metafin.
minnow fin.
I see the
I see the
metafin.
minnow fin.
Man. All
Jesus.
right. Hey man, hey, medical terminology, bro. Hey, medical words are hard to pronounce, Monty.
it's going
I
to
know.
be
I
a
know.
whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country. The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. I mean, this was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned
Now,
some pretty good
that
things about.
Go ahead.
I will say,
Mhm.
acetaminophen's mechanism of action does cross the blood-brain barrier.
Mm.
So it comes out of your blood and goes into your brain, and it does cross the placental barrier
Oh.
in a pregnant mother. So one could argue, just like any other carcinogen that can get into your blood and get into your brain, it might not be good for you. However, I only know that it reduces pain and it's an analgesic and a fever reducer. Um,
Mm.
and I don't know why he's going on about um, only give it in, you know, worst to worst case scenarios. That's usually the only time we give acetaminophen is for extreme fevers that could result in seizures. And like that so it is kind of redundant to say that because that's what's already done.
Mm. I mean, true, but all right.
Certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better, and in some cases, maybe substantially better. Uh, Not going to be easy, but be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly for. I have so many friends with autistic children. It's just it's a tough situation. Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words, and then Dr. Bhattacharya and Dr. McCary, Dr. Oz, Dr. Fink, followed by two incredible mothers that have experienced firsthand what this country is going through, what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism. Okay, tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say it right now. And you know the way I look at it, don't take it. Don't take it. There's no downside in not taking it. So I'd like to ask Bobby to come up and say a few words. I hope I didn't ruin his day, but that's the way I feel. I've been very strong on the subject for a long time. You know, life is common sense too.
I mean, on this whole comment about Cuba, let's see here. Some sources say Cuba reports about 1 in 2,500 children have been diagnosed with autism. This is based on a Ministry of Public Health
Do they
data and
actually have
regulations from
Tylenol?
autism. I mean, I don't think. Hey, I mean, do they? I don't think so. According to Trump, they don't got Tylenol because they can't afford it. And I'm just like, damn, y'all can't afford Tylenol.
What about according to like the World Health Organization or somebody that's can spell acetaminophen?
All right, gotcha.
And there's a lot of common sense in this, and I wish things like this were brought up. And this group has worked so hard on it, but I'd like to be a little bit more, a little speedier in the process of a recommendation because there's no harm in going quicker. There's absolutely no harm. At worst, there's no harm. Thank you very much, Bobby. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. To meet the president's challenge, I ordered HHS to launch an unprecedented all-agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend. We have broken down the traditional silos that have long separated these agencies, and we have fast-tracked research and guidance. Historically, NIH has focused almost solely on politically safe and entirely fruitless research about the genetic drivers of autism. And that would be like studying the genetic drivers of lung cancer without looking at cigarettes. And that's what NIH has been doing for 40 years. As a result, we don't have an answer to this critical question, despite the cataclysmic impact of the epidemic on our nation's children. We are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams.
No, that is called confirmation bias.
Say that again.
That is called confirmation bias. Like correlation, which there is a lot of correlation. I will give him that. There is a lot of correlation between levels of Tylenol taken and autism in birth. Like I'm not gonna debate that. That is scientifically, or not scientifically, that statistically proven. However, comma, correlation does not equal causation. Not all the time.
Mm. All right. And I definitely got that answer about Cuba. Cuba doesn't sell Tylenol branded bottles, but people there do use Tista.
Oh my god.
Go ahead and what was it? A Tista bro.
What? Put it in the
I,
chat. Put it in the back end.
I hate that word. A Acetaminophen or whatever they call it. But yeah, they do
Acetaminophen?
acetaminophen. Yes, my
So
bad.
hold on.
Acetaminophen.
No,
So they
so
do use
so
it in they do use it in Cuba, but they don't use, the Tylenol brand.
so acetaminophen and Tylenol are the same thing. So Tylenol is the brand name. Every drug has a generic name and a brand name. Acetaminophen is the generic name for the brand name Tylenol. Um, so it's not. They are interchangeable. Anybody that tells you that they're not is lying to you.
All right.
You
No
can
worry,
just say Tylenol.
we promise transparency as we uncover the potential causes and treatments, and we will notify the public regularly of our progress. Today, we are announcing two important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. First, HHS will act on acetaminophen. The FDA is responding to clinical and laboratory studies that suggest a potential association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including later diagnosis for ADHD and autism. Scientists have proposed biological mechanisms linking prenatal acetaminophen exposure to altered brain development. We have also evaluated the contrary studies that show no association. Today, the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment in the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration and only when treatment is required. Furthermore, thanks to the politicization of science, the safety of acetaminophen against the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children has never been validated. Prudent medicine, therefore, suggests caution in acetaminophen use by young children, especially since strong evidence also has associated it with liver toxicity. Some studies have also found the use of acetaminophen in children can potentially prolong viral illnesses. FDA will drive new research to safeguard mothers, children, and families. In addition to a possible acetaminophen connection to autism for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers, our research has revealed that folate deficiency in a child's brain can lead to autism. We have also identified an exciting therapy that may benefit large numbers of children who suffer from autism. Peer-reviewed literature has documented that up to 60% of folate-deficient children with ASD can have improved verbal communications if given leucovorin. I have instructed NIH, FDA, and CMS to help doctors treat children appropriately. Jay will help tell that story, which started with sound science, the kind that restores faith in government. This announcement also represents a historic collaboration between NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS. We expect this to be the first of many announcements over the coming years that deliver actionable information to parents on underlying cause of autism and the potential paths for prevention and reversal. Finally, autism is a complex disorder with multifactorial etiology. We are continuing to investigate a multiplicity of potential causes with no areas of taboo. One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be listening to these mothers instead of gaslighting and marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say that we should believe all women, but some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades. Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past. It will take time for an honest look at this topic by scientists. But I want to reassure the people in the autism community that we will be uncompromising and relentless in our search for answers. We will perform the studies that should have been performed 25 years ago. Whatever the answer is, we will tell you what we find. We are researching this issue to all 3 agencies. Jay will discuss one of our research initiatives at NIH. This model of unleashing unbiased, depoliticized, gold standard scientific research and academic freedom to deliver actionable information to prevent and reverse disease will be a model for the framework to deliver similar results for many other chronic conditions that plague Americans. Jay?
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy.
Anyway, so Monty, what you think so far? Because it does sound like he already has something else that we could use. What do you say? Levochrome?
So,
Mhm.
so lamectitrin. I can't pronounce it either. It sounds like you have a decrease in folic acid in neurodevelopment, which is it's correlation, which that's all anything is until it's proven, right? And that can somehow increase levels in the brain so that symptoms get better. That's the claim anyway. But again, you have to research this shit and you have to test it and not have confirmation bias in your findings. Like, oh, the Amish don't have any autistic kids when it's 1 in 270, and shit, like it's very, very easy to go and point at one thing and say, yeah, this is bad, with a little bit of correlation, but to actually do the research and see the results, because all they're doing is guessing at this point. And that's
but
all.
they are
If
saying
anybody
that, they are saying don't use this, but you can at least use this instead. I mean, and
Oh
let's be
no,
real.
so that's every other NSAID, which is what Tylenol is, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, is what NSAID stands for. Every other one of those has negative effects, right? So there's not one that I know of, because actually, in fact, Tylenol is what is told to pregnant mothers that's the only safe thing that you can take. Only take a Tylenol. And so where are we at with it? Because everything else is more dangerous.
I mean, yeah, we just can't let them start taking Percocets. Like, come on now. But all right.
Thanks, Marty. I think you all appreciate the passion in the president's voice. We've been hearing that since the inauguration. In fact, even before the inauguration, the president was upset about what he spoke to today. And so together with Secretary Kennedy, who's made it his life's work to address some of these challenges with autism, they challenged us. In fact, they were harsher than that. They wanted no silos to break down what the NIH would do, what the FDA would do, what CMS would do. They insisted that the physician leaders bust through the clutter because their agencies had the power. If we didn't do what every other prior administration had done, which is to let people function within their siloed environments. Because of that, in historic fashion and a very accelerated manner, we have a response today to the autism crisis. It is the first of several chapters, but this is breaking news. You've heard some of it. The response to the autism crisis is going to continue to come to you under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, and the president wouldn't have it any other way, as you've heard. The FDA, based on NIH research, is approving prescription leucovorin for treatment of autistic children.
Leucovorin.
Now, if you're following the script, there should be two questions that you have, two questions that should come to your mind. The first is, how will patients and parents get access to the treatment? I'll tell you how. Over half of American children are covered by Medicaid and CHIP, government health insurance, over half. And therefore, because they're covered in Medicaid and CHIP, upon this label change by Marty, state Medicaid programs in partnership with CMS will cover prescription leucovorin around the country. It's yours, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription because they know your child, they know you, and they know the medication. States will also have tools to monitor its use and ensure appropriate utilization. That's important for a bunch of reasons, because we want the right kids getting the right prescription medications. We believe private insurance companies will rapidly follow our lead if they have not already done so. And again, to make sure that this is safe and effective treatment, you need a physician to prescribe the medication because it's on prescription. Second big question.
Can
Are
I
we gonna
can I
collect
interject
clinical
here?
data to answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
So to all you fucking health gurus that have Google and WebMD, yes, I know Tylenol is not an NSAID. However, to get the same results as Tylenol, i.e. anti-inflammatory and some fever reducers, you have to take an NSAID, and NSAIDs are not good. I know it's an analgesic. I'm a fucking paramedic.
Man, shout out Monty.
God.
Big questions that the president's asking and secretary insists that we offer. CMS is also issuing guidance to convene states and existing research networks to support NIH and FDA in their research efforts of prescription leucovorin, while also maintaining the privacy of all patients, all health information of our beneficiaries. Collecting real world data, which is what many of you have been asking us to do in the community, is fast. It is life-saving, and we'll get answers based on what happens over the next few months with this approach. The aggressive approach, and it is aggressive, demanded by the president and by the secretary, have already identified risk factors and opened the door for the first FDA-recognized treatment pathway for autism. It is the first of its kind, and it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of the president and the secretary. The fivefold increased prevalence of autism over the past 25 years demands a rapid response. The average clinician, researcher, we spoke to many, thought it would take 5 years to get this data. Parents are unwilling to wait 5 years. The president is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the president and the secretary are acting today with this tri-agency move. The administration's bold actions investing in groundbreaking research follow the science. They restore trust, which has been lacking, and they will change the trajectory for millions of American families. Mr. President, God bless you for being brave. So let me introduce Dr. Fink, who's acting administrator. And after Dr. Fink, we've got some wonderful women, Jackie and Amanda. I know it's going to be tough, but if you can make some comments about this historic day, God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to speak with all of you today. As a pediatrician and mom, I'm here today to talk about what this announcement means for the millions of moms and dads who are faced with the choice of whether to take acetaminophen during pregnancy. It's hard to hear information that challenges the status quo. We are sharing this information not to confuse, but to empower parents to make the best choices when taking medications during pregnancy. We are all concerned about the rising rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are dedicated to radical transparency so that patients have the best, most up-to-date information. We are also sharing this information with our nation's doctors, and we encourage you, as always, to consult with your doctor to make the best decision for you. All too often, it's easy to think that medicines we buy without a prescription pose little to no risk for the mom or the baby. As you heard today, pregnant women who need high fever or pain reduction during pregnancy should take the lowest effective dose of acetaminophen for the shortest possible duration. Most women will not meet these indications during their pregnancies. I am encouraged by
Now, is it me or Monty? It sounds like they're saying it as if it's a fact at this point. Like, yeah, just don't even like if you're a pregnant mother or expecting mother, don't even play with it.
I will say this, right? The lowest effective dose for the minimum amount of treatment is the easy way of saying don't give it unless you need it. And you should do that with any prescription medication. You should never overprescribe a medication because that's just dumb. But it's giving doctors the, hey, this is now the accepted practice. If you do this, now you're going to start finding yourself liable for, overprescribing a medication.
But here's the thing,
And
though, man. People are
it's
going to start
genuinely
rushing the doctor, though, because the alternative, Luca Corvin, is pretty much like you got to get it through your doctor. Like, Tylenol. I mean, you can go to Family Dollar and pick that up.
right, and that's kind of the issue. Is Tylenol has kind of been advertised as this wonder drug that fixes everything. Oh, just take a couple of Tylenols and you'll be fine, right?
Great advertising.
However, Tylenol is extremely liver toxic. Like, you should not be taking it regularly, and it's not good for your liver. So, you don't want to. It's good advice not to take a bunch of Tylenol. Like that's what I yeah.
All right, just common sense. All right.
these developments today because it is another example of our commitment.
Oh, and shout out to H3I in Australia. 100% of deaths from whooping cough were in children vaccinated. For it, 0 deaths for the unvaccinated. Allegedly, reportedly, supposedly. Just
Wait. What?
Medical misinformation. So he's saying in Australia, 100% of death from whooping cough were in children vaccinated. Yeah, whooping cough. Yeah, whooping cough wasn't pretty much were in children vaccinated, and then there was 0 death in the unvaccinated. Allegedly, reportedly.
Yeah, because you don't want to get taken off stream.
Commitment to the American people to leave no stone unturned in improving the health of our nation's children. Next, I'm going to turn it over to some incredible mothers who are going to share more about their stories, and we're so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and team, for all your work. This is an historic day, and I'm thankful to be here. I have a son who's 5, who is profoundly autistic, and you've probably heard if you've met one autistic child, you've met one autistic child. It's a spectrum, which I don't think the spectrum is helpful, but that's another conversation. He is an amazing little boy, a blessing from God. He's marvelous. He can count to 1,000. He knows all of his letters and the sounds they make and a word for each one. But he also has a lot of obstacles. He is nonverbal. He can say those numbers and letters, but there's no communication. Unless you've lived with profound autism, you have no idea. You have no idea.
I mean, Monty, I like to ask you, does the spectrum help? Or because you did make a pretty strong claim with that.
Here's my opinions about the spectrum as somebody that is diagnosed with Asperger's. And if you fucking go in the chat and say Asperger's not a thing anymore, that's what's on my medical record. That's what I'm diagnosed as. So bite me. It is not helpful to put it on a spectrum, in my opinion. I think they should be separate things. Simply because you're like she said, you've seen one autistic child, you've seen one autistic child. Like, it does not do anything to advanced research for it. It just groups a whole bunch of people with neurodivergencies in one category so that it can all fit nicely in the DSM-5. And it lumps you in. You can be high functioning like I am and fucking hyper fixate on something, and suddenly you're compared to the kid that drools on himself that can't change his, that has to have a diaper change at 15 years old. So I don't know. I don't think it does any good, but whatever. I'm not a psychologist.
All right.
So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group because they're waiting for certain studies. I don't. I just want to say, I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it if you just can't. I mean, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is, and it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum. Now, you know what mercury is, you know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body?
Man.
And there were rumors about both of them for a long time, but we're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B,
I
again,
don't know why
that's
they're even
sexually
in there.
transmitted. And we think you should wait. I think you should wait till.
I don't know, Monty. Can you explain that? Why in God's name are they putting was it mercury?
If I don't know of any vaccines that have them. I'm looking it up right now.
All right, let me know.
I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors because when they talk about different results, different studies.
So all I can
talk
find
about
is
a lot of
multi-dose flu vaccines and specific diphtheria vaccines until mid-2025.
Well, all right, there you go. I guess they were doing it.
common sense.
Well, they were.
And they have that too.
Yeah, it's
They
a
have that too,
preservative.
a
Yeah,
lot.
that's what I was. Yeah,
But I
it's just a
recommend the
preservative.
hepatitis B. Take it at 12.
Damn preservatives.
Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chicken pox. Chicken pox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot, but the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it, but they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So an MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after that. The baby goes get a shot. They say, "Here, take a cup of Tylenol." I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in the situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you got to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I mean, I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower, And she had the most perfect child, beautiful, just perfect. And I remember this little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. And one day I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was.
Hmm.
I said, are you okay? What happened? My boy, I've lost my boy. What does that mean, your boy? My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable, I think she said 107, 108. You know, it goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. You know, we hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that.
And shout out to Yo Saros. He says, I haven't seen a gay frog in a min. I guess things are turning around. America's back. Hey, you know what? Maybe they took the atrazine out the water finally. All right, guys. They probably took the atrazine out the water, and you ain't got to worry about drinking yourself gay. I know, right? Drinking yourself gay, like the poor frogs.
You never hear about, but it goes up very high, and it's fried. They get fried. She said, I took him. He got developed an unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir. He's gone. And then I saw the boy. It was so tragic to see. That was the following day. That was the following day after the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot. The kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. Can only help. And the other things I told you about, just the word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life with a lot of other things, you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. Tylenol, they give them a shot. They give them a vaccine. And every time they give them a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of these babies, they're long born, and all of a sudden they're gone. And it doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR. Break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years, we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox, because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about it, other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason with this, they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And we have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, and they are so committed to this. I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And, we have something else called Favored Nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called Favored Nations. We're going to be paying what right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for
we're pretty much forcing pharmaceutical companies to pay it, well, to sell us these pharmaceuticals at the same price they give their most favored nation. And I mean, that means the lowest price possible. And oh, shout out to Sid. He says, love the medical correspondent sitting there with nothing to say. This is a disaster. And I'm like, see, Sid, this is why. This is why. This is why I didn't have you up. I can't have you doing this. But don't worry, I'll bring you up later. But shout out Sid.
Forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud in my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill, from $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends, they're fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because we have a lot of stupid people in this country running things.
Finesse.
And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up, just break it up, break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, when I leave office, I don't want to have, it's going to be the kind of number that we're hearing where it's 1 in 32 or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be, let's get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong.
Agreed.
And I feel very certain, and I know I'll be criticized. Someday they'll look back and they'll say, well, it wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important. There's nothing more important than me. We cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us so much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done. We brought prices down. We gave you the largest tax cuts, all that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything. So we're going to save a lot of children from a tough life, really tough life. We're going to save a lot of parents from a tough life. Okay, how about a few questions? Let's just make it on this subject. This is so beyond.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, I'm seeing some responses in the chat, and I always just say it's like you guys will literally, yo, Monty, but you guys will literally champion the corporate elites, bro, just to disagree against Trump. Like, you think Tylenol give a F about you? Like, for all you know, Tylenol could have been knew this, and they just still sold it to pregnant women. They just still sold it. So let's be real. It's up to the government to keep these guys accountable. And honestly, this is a just in case measure. And honestly, I'm okay with it. Because there's another medicine. Not like we're just leaving y'all ass out. Like, oh no, there's nothing else you could take, mother. You're just gonna have to deal with it. It is what it is. No, we gave you another Solution, you're just gonna have to meet up with your doctor a little bit more. It is what it is. Hopefully you like your doctor.
There have been lawsuits against Tylenol for taking it while you're pregnant and then suddenly having a kid with autism. Like it's already been established. Like I'm surprised he put all this emphasis on this new development that they're announcing. Like Tylenol's already been sued for it.
Really? Well, shoot, people in the chat's going like, well, Tylenol should sue this administration. I'm like, okay, guys. I thought y'all were against the corporate elites that want to poison us or give us effed up medicine. But hey, if it's about disagreeing with Trump, it is what it is, right?
Have it your way. Take all the Tylenol you want. Actually, you know what? Instead of 650, take 1,300.
Damn. All right.
Subject that I'd rather not talk about, some nonsense on the economy. And I will say this, the economy is unbelievable. The stock market just hit another record high and all that stuff. This means more to me. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I have one on your announcement, one on vaccines that's also really
Yes.
Why do you think we haven't heard more previously about the tie to autism in acetaminophen?
Nobody knows. I don't know. Not only that, when you say it, you get attacked. I was saying something similar.
This is something that Dems complain about a lot. Lobbying. Yes. Well, we didn't talk about it because the pharmaceutical companies was lobbying so we don't talk about it. It's shut the F up so we can make a profit. And for some reason, if it's about disagreeing with Trump, if you can disagree with Trump, you guys will be okay with it, which is crazy.
Strongly, because now facts are on our side.
That is all y'all are proving right now.
I was saying it with Bobby 20 years ago, and I was attacked. I said, whoa, what was that all about? I had no idea. You get attacked. I don't know. The medical community, the drug companies, doctor. I don't know what it is. All I want to do, I don't care. I don't care about being attacked. It doesn't matter to me. I believe that the numbers at the end of our term or shortly thereafter could be really phenomenal. I want it to go up just like it came down to this horrible level. 1 in 10, 1 in 12. I was told 1 in 10. I was told 1 in 12. Today I heard 1 in 31 if you add the girls and the boys together. It's crazy. And it was 1 in 10,000 and 1 in 20.
Not to nitpick or anything, but going from 1 in 20,000 to going to 1 in 12 is not going down. That's actually going up. Just because the number is smaller doesn't mean it's going down. It's an increase in cases. Just like you can't decrease something by 1,000%. You can only increase something by 1,000%. Like he really needs to fucking work on his math skills.
Let's be real. Trump, he off the cuff. Like somebody could have wrote him some Post-it notes or a speech, but he's like, nah, I'm just gonna go off the cuff with this one. Mess up, I may, but it is what it is. It's damn near like how we do this stuff live. It's like, hey man, we don't got no script. We didn't talk this out or nothing, man. We just coming out here like just who knows what's gonna come out our mouth. That's how Trump does these engagements. Well, it seems.
1,000. It's not even sustainable for a country. You want to know the truth. And there are other places that don't have it. And they have things in common. And that's called medical research. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I'm curious as you look at the trend lines.
Yeah.
How much of this is the causation of acetaminophen and how much is sort of better diagnosis, doctors, researchers having a better understanding of what is on the autism spectrum?
Do you want to do that? Sure, go ahead.
That's one of the canard that has been promoted by the industry for many years, that it's changed diagnostic criteria, better recognition. But there's been study after study done of that completely debunks that. One of them by the Mind Institute at UC Davis, University of California. But also it's just common sense, because you're only seeing this in people who are under 50 years of age. If it were better recognition or diagnosis, you'd see it in 70-year-old men. I've never seen this happening in people my age. I've never seen a case of full-blown autism, and that means profound autism. I want to be very careful. Head banging, stimming, toe walking, nonverbal, non-toilet trained. I've never in my life seen a 70-year-old man who looks like that. You're only seeing it in the kids. It's an epidemic.
Mr. President, I was hoping that you could clear up confusion for moms and dads across America, many of whom voted for you. There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for.
And shout out Tove. She says, for everyone out there saying it's stupid and Tylenol is not dangerous, they said the same thing about narcotics and alcohol for decades. Not far outside the possibility of Tylenol being a contributing factor. It really isn't. That's what I'm saying. And it's like I said, it's honestly a just in case measure. It's not like they just said, oh, well, you can't take anything. You got another option. So you guys are like, what? Well, what's up, Monty?
I'm not going to go as far as to say is it's not the cause of autism, right? Like I can't say that for sure because I'm not a fucking neurologist. Unlike the people in the chat, I've never met so many neurologists before. But it is definitely worth looking into and not just saying, oh no, that's not the cause. This is just a conspiracy. The frogs are gay. Like, both of them are intellectually stupid to sit back and say, oh, there's nothing to see here. Like, of course that would work great for, whoever makes Tylenol.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Tylenol can give your kid autism. Well, allegedly could give your kid autism. And I think y'all should take that seriously and go ahead and just meet up with your doctor and get the Lucacoven, however you pronounce it. But yeah, make sure y'all go ahead and check in with your doctor on that note. Especially, I'm just saying, just play it safe. Just play it safe. Like, what's the point of risking it just to spite the president? I mean, come on now. Like, I'm talking to the liberal women. Like, let's be real. Don't play around. Don't F around and find out. Like, please don't do it because.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Like, come on now.
Pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you?
The establishment. That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing. There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh, if you do this, you're going to die. There's no downside. There's no downside to going over a 4-year or a 5-year period or a 3-year period, or even if you space them out for 6 months.
And shout out Sid.
Pain never killed anybody.
He said, shout out Sid. He says, Monty hasn't looked into those lawsuits, of course. Oh, Lord.
You space it out. There's no downside. And that's why I will say the gentleman behind me, they have very strong views and they feel that we're right, but they'll have more research done over the next 2 months. I said, well, 2 months is a long time. A lot of people could be saved, and there's no downside to doing it. Everything I said, there's no downside to doing it. It can only be good. And I think you're going to see very good results. That's establishment stuff. And we've been reading that about a lot of things for years. And you know what's happened? We've gone from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 32 to 1 in 10. Think of it. 1 in 10 or 12 or 1 in 31. Think of it. 1 in 31 people, young kids, get autism. What is it, Jeff?
My question is about leucovorin. You mentioned that as part of your plan. That is also a chemotherapy treatment. Have you been in touch with the drug companies to
Why don't
increase
I have the
production
doctor
about
answer that?
And just, I'm going to throw in my follow-up at the same time. Dr. Oz mentioned that this will be available with CHIP, children who are on CHIP. But the big beautiful bill reduced funding for CHIP and Medicaid by $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Are you concerned that that will impact your ability to get this drug out?
I'll explain it to you in a second, but please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leucovorin is not a chemotherapy, but it is a vitamin given with chemotherapy sometimes. And the idea here is that the folic acid receptor in the brain is blocked by some antibody response. Might be 20, 40, 50% of kids with autism. And leucovorin will bypass that blocked receptor. And that's why.
Leucovorin. Okay. And Monty, you were right. It's that receptor in the brain that's the problem that well, Tylenol goes through. And I guess the leucovorin is what's supposed to avert that, so you can get the benefits of Tylenol without, effing up your baby's brain.
Incorrect. No.
All right.
No. So leucovorin is to replenish the folic receptors in the brain. It's not to give any of the effects of Tylenol.
Okay, so then
It's a treatment for
take it with
autism.
Tylenol. Dude, so we can take it with Tylenol to avert the effects. Then
Tylenol, it does not have a replacement. That drug is not a replacement, which is why when you were saying that, I was like, no, it's not a replacement. It's two totally different things. One is the quote unquote presented cause, and this is how you fix it after you've done the damage.
Okay, so something that you take with Tylenol, and then so you can avoid that.
No, you do not take it with Tylenol. You don't take Tylenol.
Well, here's the thing, though. All right, then what are you trying to say then? Because they're trying to pass it off as a replacement.
No, they're not. They never said that. They
say you have to go to your doctors more and go get that, but stop taking Tylenol.
So stop taking Tylenol because it's damaging your brain, and take this if you have a child with autism to see better results in the child. That's the claim anyway.
I'm not sure they said that, but no,
they absolutely said that.
All right, well,
the next 10 years.
They're talking about
that will impact your ability to get this drug out.
I'll explain it to you in a second, but please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leucovorin is not a chemotherapy, but it is a vitamin given with chemotherapy sometimes. And the idea here is that the folic acid receptor in the brain is blocked by some antibody response. Might be 20, 40, 50% of kids with autism. And leucovorin will bypass that blocked receptor. And that's why so many doctors are probably seeing so much clinical improvement on kids with leucovorin.
Okay, you're right. Okay, cool. So you're right. It's supposed to be giving the kids with the autism to kind of free up that receptor, right? Or am I still
correct? It'll bypass the receptor. Yeah, that's what he said.
All right, fantastic. Have to make sure.
Yeah, we've been in touch with the companies, and they are prepared to ramp up production. We actually talked to them about a month ago.
And on your second part of your nasty question, the number is that the great big beautiful bill, which is the greatest, I think one of the best things.
All right, now this is where my confusion sets in a little bit now. So we're telling people to stop taking Tylenol, but for the people who's already affected, we're just giving them the leucovorin, right?
Leucovorin, yes. That's the research that's going to be done. And we'll have to see what comes out of it, but that's the direction that they're going in based off of the studies that they already have.
But
it's like under no circumstances should you take Tylenol. Tylenol, that is the message anyway. It's not what I'm saying because I'm not a doctor, but that is what Trump is saying. That is what RFK is saying. They can get sued. I don't have to worry about that. But this is, so you've already done the damage. You took Tylenol while you were pregnant. What do I do now for my autistic child? Give them leucovorin. Yes.
Okay, then. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Never passed in the history with the tax cuts and regulation cuts and all of the things it does. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. All of it does. It also gives $200 million, as just explained by Dr. Oz. And I'd like you to explain that to exactly what you're saying.
Honestly, though, what in God's name is they going to use for that pain relief? Like what, CBD oils or something? Like
pain has never killed anybody.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just pretty much provide comfort of that.
Treat the problem, not the symptom of the problem.
All right.
The big beautiful bill actually increases Medicaid spending projected over the next 10 years by $200 billion. There's also a $50 billion rural health transformation fund, which will allow a lot of these programs to get in the rural parts of the country that the president and Congress are handing to governors to start distributing. Those grants have already gone out. The money will be allocated by the end of this calendar year. And I want to point out that the ability of NIH to do research that feeds and hands the ball to the FDA, which then can change labeling to allow Medicaid programs in states to fund this program, will ensure that the things that President Trump and Secretary Kennedy desire are financially affordable for the families around America.
You mentioned chips. That's why I asked the question. You mentioned that chip would fund this.
Well, most of the kids are on Medicaid, probably 43% on Medicaid, another 8-10% on CHIP. And all the programs in general are being evaluated. Most of what the One Big Beautiful Bill was seeking to do was to remove fraud, waste, and abuse. But the programs themselves should stay financially intact for the people for whom they were designed, and in this case, for children.
And the only thing we cut, so that's 200 billion positive. The only thing we cut was for fraud, waste, and abuse, of which there was a lot in this country, and nobody minds that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you said that there is no reason to give newborn babies hepatitis B vaccines, but hepatitis B can be contracted.
I mean, from that statement, Trump pretty much saying that, that $930 billion was fraud, waste, and abuse. Huh. I mean, it's believable, but I would hope somebody would crunch the numbers on that one for me.
Not just through sexually transmitted diseases, it can come from needles, open
What?
wounds. So when you say you feel, is that appropriate to be telling?
I think it's absolutely appropriate. I think they should wait till they're 12 years old. Yes, please.
You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines. Would you like other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out like MMRV?
What is this again?
You've been talking.
Speak up, please.
You've been talking about reducing autism by spacing out vaccines.
Right, correct.
Would you like the other combined vaccines babies receive to be spaced out like MMRV?
I would say yes, but that just is, for me, it's a lot of common sense involved in this. It's a process, but we're looking, but it should at least be given separately. Now, it's possible that you can reduce them and I'd give them in small doses, but it's possible maybe in that particular case, the MMR wouldn't work in small doses, but you can certainly give them as separate shots. It's been proven to be very safe when you give them in separate shots instead of mixing. So I don't think there's any reason to do that. Do you agree with it? I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving my opinion. I don't think there's any reason to do that. So it's been proven to be safe when you break them up. But MMR by itself, I've heard bad things about it for many years. Yes, please.
Is the spectrum too broad, in your opinion? For research purposes, you are dealing with a population of children who might have social boundary difficulties, and then you have children who are, going to grow up to be adults in diapers. I mean, what do you think?
We don't know how broad the spectrum is. We don't know exactly where it starts and where it ends, but we do know what we're going through. We're going through some very serious trouble, and we know autism. I mean, it could be bigger, it could be small, a little bit smaller, but the number is unacceptable. And the number, the way it's come down, because the spectrums remain the same, the number, the way it's come down is just unacceptable, meaning come down to that level of 1 in 10, 1 in 12, 1 in 31. Go ahead, in the back.
This question is more directed towards Secretary Kennedy. He's talked about that we're just kind of finding out about the fact that babies are affected this way. Is there a concern that information is being suppressed right now within HHS, and could an investigation perhaps be launched?
Well, I think information has been really not given out very freely over the years, absolutely. And I think that's by drug companies and maybe doctors, but I certainly think that over the years, I think this is a different group. We have a lot of information, and that information, I mean, it's the information that we have that we're making these statements, and I'm making them out front, and I'm making them loud, and I'm making them strongly not to take Tylenol, not to take it. Just don't take it unless it's absolutely necessary, and there's not too many cases where that will be the case. And again, what's the worst? The worst is nothing can happen. It's very positive. That's a positive thing. But I don't believe I don't actually believe that's possible. I think the results are going to be amazing. I want to see amazing results by the time I leave this beautiful building. And I will consider this I believe, you know, with the wars, I've stopped 7 different wars. I've saved millions of lives. I've done a lot of things. This will be as important as any single thing I've done because I know ladies, beautiful ladies just like this that are going through the same thing. And it's not easy. And I admire you for being able to do it. But I admire him too. I wish I had a face that looked like that. If I looked like him, I would have been president a long time ago.
Is widely used in other countries too. As you make this announcement, do you expect your decision may affect?
I hope
other
they follow
countries?
it. Yeah. I hope they follow it. Yeah. Other countries are, you know, sell Tylenol. Some countries don't. I mean, I hear Cuba now. Again, you'll have to check this out. But I hear Cuba doesn't have it because it's very expensive, and they don't have the money to have it, or they don't want to spend the money to have it. They don't have Tylenol, and I hear they have essentially no autism. So you have to. You have to
Nah, they got autism. It's just they don't got the Tylenol brand.
check it out.
And they do have, of course, the painkillers and all that good stuff. So yeah, they got pretty much the generic Tylenol.
Yeah, Brian, please.
Medical professionals have warned.
No. I said no, not you. You're CNN. You're fake news. Go ahead, Brian.
I want to go back to the Amish community if I can just for a second. I recently saw a man from Minnesota, an Amish man from Minnesota on a podcast, and the host asked him what the rates were for like ADHD and autism, and he had no idea about ADHD, didn't know it existed, and certainly didn't know of any cases.
It doesn't exist with the Amish community, and they don't take all of this junk. It doesn't exist. That tells you, doesn't that tell you? That's like, you know, that's like certain countries where it doesn't exist and they don't take it. Would you like to make a comment about that one?
The Amish population, a very mixed group. So there's a subset that take vaccines, a subset that does not. And we know they have very low rates of chronic disease all across the board.
All natural lifestyle.
Please.
President, should the establishment media show at least some openness to, trying to figure out what the causes of
I wish you want to live a little bit more healthier. Try to live as close to the Amish as possible, except keep your electricity in your phone.
They would, yeah.
Why are they so close-minded?
Well, they just look. It's not only the media. In all fairness, it's some people. When you talk about vaccines, they go crazy. And I'm a big supporter of vaccines. I got a certain vaccine approved in 9 months that would have taken from 5 to 12 years. I'm very proud of it. A lot of people think it was one of the greatest things I've done. And some people think, mostly Republicans, actually. I'll tell you, the Democrats think it was, they think Operation Warp Speed was one of the greatest things any president has done, any president. It's, we're very proud of what happened. We got hit with something that came from a place that shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. Those things take place and you're very unpleasantly surprised. But no, I'm a big believer in vaccines, the polio vaccine, big believer in vaccines. I know Bobby and you guys have it out a little bit, but he's a believer in vaccines too. But I've seen how great vaccines can be, how incredible they can be. So I'm a believer. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Your comments you made about MMR and hepatitis B, I know you said those were your suggestions, but have you spoken with Secretary Kennedy about actually making those changes?
I have, yeah, I have. I've spoken to all the doctors about it, and doctors that are not here right now. I've spoken to many doctors about everything we're talking about. And the Tylenol has started to be spoken of over the last period of time, but we've been doing the research. A lot of what they've been speaking about comes from right here, by research done by these people. And I just say it again, don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. And don't give it to your child after your child is born. And do all those other things, little things, just spread out your visits, et cetera, on the vaccine. And I want to thank everybody. This is a very important day. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get over to Press Secretary Levitt. All right, let's get to it.
Happy Monday. Good to see all of you here. I want to start with a preview of President Trump's very busy schedule for the week. Later this afternoon, the president will be making a major announcement focused on the childhood autism epidemic, alongside his top health advisors who are working to make America healthy again. This will be a powerful display of how the entire Trump administration is committed to addressing root causes of chronic conditions and diseases, embracing full transparency in government, and championing gold standard science. Tonight, the president will depart to New York City ahead of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. He will be joined in New York City by the First Lady. Tomorrow morning, President Trump will deliver a major speech touting the renewal of American strength around the world, his historic accomplishments in just 8 months, including the ending of 7 global wars and conflicts. The president will also touch upon how globalist institutions have significantly decayed the world order, and he will articulate his straightforward and constructive vision for the world.
Huh.
The president will also—
Is he finally going to bring that RICO case against George Soros? Because that's what I've been hearing, that, yeah, you need to take care of Soros and see if you can link him to anything. But here's the thing. That man Soros always has plausible deniability. So even if you can link him to some far left activism then that commits violence, well, he can always have that plausible deniability of, well, I didn't know they were going to commit violence. I just gave them $1 million because, well, you know, they left this lunatics. That's why.
So be hosting bilateral meetings with the UN Secretary General and the leaders of Ukraine, Argentina, and the European Union. The president will also later in the day hold a multilateral meeting with Qatar, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt, the UAE, and Jordan. After these important meetings, the president will attend a reception tomorrow night with more than 100 world leaders before returning to Washington, D.C. On Thursday, here at the White House, President Trump will welcome President Erdogan of Turkey for a bilateral meeting. And on Friday, the president will travel to Long Island for the—
We got a lot to discuss, because honestly, I think we're going to try to push the Palestinians into Turkey and Egypt. Yeah, the two, well, in Egypt is going to be tough because they're already suffering from overpopulation. So they really might just be Turkey and Jordan, to be quite honest.
Ryder Cup golf match between the United States and Europe. This event is one of the greatest sporting events in the world, and it would not be taking place this year without President Trump's help. President Trump signed an executive order last week preventing a strike that would have crippled the New York City area ahead of the tournament, and at the request of the 5 labor unions who all represent workers on the Long Island Railroad. One of the greatest golfers in the world, Bryson DeChambeau, praised the president's critical intervention, saying, quote, "When the possibility of a strike threatened to disrupt transportation and attendance, President Trump stepped up and took the action needed to protect this world-class competition." Thanks to President Trump's decisive leadership, the Ryder Cup experience will be everything fans and the golf community deserve. Again, that's a quote from the great golfer Bryson DeChambeau. Now let's all hope the American Ryder Cup team can take home the trophy. In other news, positive economic data continues to pour in. Brand new polling shows that Americans' faith in the economy and the direction of the nation is back on track and shooting even higher. Home ownership is more affordable, with mortgage rates dropping to a 3-year low. For new home buyers, this represents a $250 decline in your monthly mortgage payment.
I guess the lender's already preparing for the rate cut ahead of time.
Or nearly $3,000 a year. President Trump has made it very clear he wants to continue to see mortgage rates decline to a record low, just like they did in his first term. Thanks to President Trump's unleashing energy dominance, gas prices are dropping and Americans are spending the smallest share of their disposable income on gasoline since 2005. Additionally, the annual cost to own and operate a new vehicle is down by nearly 6% over the last year. Americans are earning more and they are spending more than ever before. After inflation outpaced for 26 straight months under Joe Biden, real wages have increased nearly every month since President Trump took office, with wages for blue-collar workers rising at the fastest rate in 6 decades. Retail sales are also booming, up 5% over last year. And the stock market is booming, and Americans' retirement accounts continue to do well, with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all hitting new record highs. In fact, the S&P 500 is up nearly 15%, and the NASDAQ is up more than 21% since Election Day. As part of President Trump's mission to restore America as the manufacturing superpower of the world, he has secured nearly $9 trillion in U.S. investment, nearly 9 times more than Biden attracted in his entire 4-year term. And we expect that number to be upwards of $15 trillion very soon. We're already seeing the initial economic benefits of these investments, with industrial production recently rising to an all-time high. President Trump built the greatest economy in the history of the world in his first term, and we are witnessing him do it all over again. Now, before I open it up to questions, I do want to speak on the heinous political assassination of Charlie Kirk. As President Trump powerfully stated yesterday, this assassination was an attack on everything that makes the United States of America the greatest country on earth. But that attack has completely failed. The heartwarming response from the overwhelming majority of the American people over the past 2 weeks is all of the proof that you need.
Yeah.
The assassin who took Charlie's life can destroy flesh and...
I mean, here's the thing. The best moment of that whole event was when Erica Kirk came out there and said, "I forgive the killer." I mean, honestly, that just set the tone on how everybody should honestly start acting. You know, a bit more, I don't know, go ahead. What was that phrase? What would Jesus do? Yeah, I think we need to start saying that a little bit more. Because, man, because what Erica Kirk did was what would Jesus do moment.
Blood, but he can never destroy the values that Charlie stood for. All across the country, millions of Americans have prayed, hosted vigils, attended church services, became politically engaged for the first time, and honored the legacy of Charlie and the ideals he died speaking for. The beautiful memorial service attended by President Trump and 100,000 great Americans in State Farm Stadium yesterday was just the latest example. And Erica Kirk's mercy was one of the greatest acts of grace this world has ever seen. May God continue to watch over Erica and their beautiful children. Unfortunately, there have been some jarring exceptions to this unity. This past Friday, 58 House Democrats voted no, and 38 voted present on a resolution that simply stated, condemning in the strongest possible terms the assassination of Charles James Kirk and all forms of political violence. There were no strings attached to this vote. This was a simple gesture of human decency to denounce political violence. I wish I could say that this was only a fringe group, but 96 votes is nearly half of the entire House Democrat caucus. And they didn't just vote against this basic resolution condemning political violence. A number of those same Democrats took to the House floor to smear Charlie Kirk's name.
Which was wild.
The man wasn't even buried yet.
Which was it? It was really just AOC. I mean, I know Jasmine Crockett said some unfavorable things. That Ilya Omar girl, she said some, I mean, effed up things. But here's the thing, though, they didn't sit there and champion this man's death, but they did do the distasteful thing of being like, all right, well, I condemn his death, I pray for his family, but he was a fascist, misogynist, and he was an anti-American. Oh, he's a racist as well. So it was kind of like like a backhanded kind of like, a backhanded condolence. It's like, yeah, I'm giving you my condolence, but just to let you know he was a piece of shit. Like, what? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you might as well not said anything, to be quite honest. It'd been more respectful to not say anything, if that's what y'all were going to do, is give that backhanded condolence.
And Democrat members of Congress were denigrating his memory on the floor of the House of Representatives. This was truly a sad moment and a clear reflection of how radical the Democrat Party has become. Many Democrats in elective office have now been totally captured by a radical fringe of the far left base who want to dehumanize every person they disagree with. We must continue to call this wickedness out. It's the only way that our nation can heal. For too long, past leaders have offered platitudes while political violence has been allowed to fester and harm innocent Americans. There has been coordinated campaigns dating back years, spearheaded by radical left-wing organizations centered on dehumanizing, intimidating, doxing, and even attacking Americans whom they disagree with. These groups have radicalized impressionable individuals to foment violence. An attempted transgender assassin traveled to Justice Brett Kavanaugh's family home with plans to end his life. An attempted assassin came within an inch of ending President Trump's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. And on the campaign trail, another attempted assassin tried to kill the president at his golf club in Florida. A left-wing assassin shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson right in the back in the heart of New York City.
You know what the most wildest part about this is? I always say, like, the Dems, y'all got to cut this out. Because if y'all don't, y'all going to make yourself look like assholes. Probably, well, it's way too late for that. But look, the fact that this shooter went out there on a leftist ideology and assassinated Charlie Kirk, like, that's bad enough. the fact that you guys are like trying to tell us to turn down the temperature when one of your guys went out there and assassinated Charlie Kirk is crazy. I mean, trying to, oh, Trump should turn down the temperature. What do you mean? What has he said to get one of you guys assassinated? Did one of your pundits get assassinated? No. So why the hell does Trump got to turn down the temperature when it's y'all rhetoric that got this man assassinated, allegedly, reportedly, supposedly? Like, let's be honest here. They called him a fascist. He said his hatred can no longer be tolerated. Who speaks like that? The left. So the fact that y'all even try to do that is BS.
ICE agents are facing a more than 1,000% increase in assaults for simply doing their jobs. Violent radical left-wing mobs engaged in illegal behavior, targeted Jewish Americans, and shut down America's college campuses under the previous administration. Left-wing mobs burned down Tesla dealerships out of, quote, protest of Elon Musk and his policies. In May, a left-wing activist shouting "Free Palestine" murdered 2 innocent Israeli embassy staffers outside of the DC Jewish Museum here in Washington. These are just a few examples, prominent examples of the growing left-wing political violence in our country. Enough is enough, and as President Trump has promised, he will directly address the dark sources funding and supporting this domestic terrorism to finally restore order in our country. The American people can expect further, very strong action on this very soon. Everyone, Republican, Democrat, everyone in between, we all deserve to live in a country where we do not have to fear for our lives simply for stating what we believe in. With that, I will take your question. In today's new media seat, we have Monica.
I mean, it's kind of crazy now. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong about this, but haven't we had more Antifa, like, situations than KKK? Because they tell you to fear white supremacy and all, and white supremacy is not a good thing. I mean, it's not. But they tell you to fear white supremacy, but you got these leftist ideology guys, you got this leftist Antifa group that's causing violence, I mean rioting, and then I don't know, they might be also, they also got their own little gun gang going on. I mean, they got trans with guns and it's an Antifa group. So they tell you to fear, these white supremacists, but when's the last time the KKK popped off like Antifa did? Like, let's be honest. I mean, with their crazy ideology, if anybody's getting radical, it is the left. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but even the radicals on our side, like the Groypers and the KKK, I mean, they pretty chill compared to you guys. And that's saying something.
Page, who is the White House correspondent for Turning Point USA's news organization, on the front lines. Monica, thank you for being here. We're so sorry for the loss of Charlie. I know you work for him. You were very close to him, and we appreciate your being in the new media seat and also your commitment to covering the White House. You are here every day, just like the rest of everyone in this room. So why don't you kick us off today?
Thank you so much, Caroline. I don't think you realize how much it means to me to be here in this seat, especially on behalf of Turning Point USA and Frontlines. We greatly appreciate it. We also greatly appreciate the outpouring of support and just the really kind words that we heard yesterday at the memorial service. That means more to us than I don't think anybody ever knows. And even the global support that we're seeing for Charlie has been overwhelming, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you so much. I have 3 questions, if I may, on the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk. Government and local officials said that Antifa inscriptions were engraved in these bullet casings that killed Charlie Kirk. It appears to be a trend, especially after what we saw in the Annunciation Church shooting, Catholic church shooting. Additionally, Stephen Miller recently commented on the rise in this kind of violence, saying there is a domestic terrorist movement growing in this country. But the president is designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. I'm wondering, what is the approach to holding these people accountable, just to ensure that violence like this just is eradicated moving forward?
Sure. Well, Antifa is going to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. The president intends to sign.
Which is a bit tricky because, I mean, Antifa's hilarious. Like, they'll say they're not organized, but I mean, they got a whole website. I mean, they got a website, guys. And then it's pretty organized website. So when they say, hey, yo, yeah, they're not organized, I think it's because nobody really investigated them. Like, let's be real. We kind of throw these guys under a rug, even though they keep popping out. We haven't done enough investigation. We don't know who funded them. And here's the thing. They are organized because they sit there and they have a pledge. I mean, they're out there online. You can literally go online and sign up to be Antifa. That's pretty organized to me. If you can go online and read out their mission statement, that's organized. That's like business level organization. They got a mission statement.
That executive order very soon, as soon as it's drafted, as soon as today, later this afternoon. And this is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group. And unfortunately, it's gone widely uncovered by many in the legacy media. It also went completely ignored by the previous administration. Not anymore. Not only, as you mentioned, were the bullet casings subscribed with Antifa mottos, if you will, in the heinous assassination of Charlie, but there have also been more examples than I could read off for you here in this briefing room today of violence from Antifa. I will just read a few.
And shout out Tove. She says, "S.E.T, the left is blind and deaf to their actions and are allergic to accountability, truth, and common sense." I know, right? Because I've been waiting for at least one leftist guy to be like, you know what? It is kind of wild that we're telling the Republicans to turn down the temperature when it's our rhetoric that that young man was going off of. Like, he called Charlie Kirk a fascist. I mean, we call Charlie Kirk a fascist. We call him a Nazi. I mean, we call them all Nazis. So now that this young man then took a gun and shot somebody off our rhetoric, why are we telling Trump to turn down the temperature? Why are we asking Republicans to turn down the temperature? Isn't that like kind of gaslight? That's like gaslighting, bro. That's like gaslighting to the max. I mean, damn.
In July 2025, several members of an Antifa cell ambushed and opened fire on officers at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, shooting one officer in the neck. Also in July 2025, 3 Antifa members were charged with assaulting a police officer during a violent riot outside an ICE facility in Portland, which for weeks prior had been under siege from the local Antifa terror cell. In February 2024, a transgender Antifa terrorist detonated an explosive device outside of the office of the Republican Attorney General of Alabama. In July 2023, Antifa members linked to abortionist group Jane's Revenge firebombed pro-life facilities and vandalized churches. In January 2022, a suspected Antifa member was arrested for bringing a pipe bomb to a pro-Trump event. In January 2021, an Antifa supporter threatened to shoot police officers and Trump supporters outside of the Florida State Capitol building. Again, I could continue to list many more examples for those in the room who don't believe this is a serious threat to American safety and our national security, but this administration knows that it is. That's why the president will be signing this order. And we will also be, most importantly, looking at who is funding Antifa and who is funding these other violent left-wing groups that we've seen perpetuate so much crime and mayhem across our country.
Thank you. And Charlie Kirk died exercising his First Amendment.
Yeah, because to say they're not organized doesn't make any sense, because how do they organize themselves to be protesters? How do they organize themselves with the mask and all that to attack police? I mean, they'll be the only people masked up in a protest sometimes. So it's kind of strange how people say, oh, they're not organized. I mean, shoot, they got a website. They're able to communicate to each other, to meet up places. I mean, damn. I mean, I don't think you get any more organized than that. Like, what do you want them to have? An SQL database or something?
Right. Willingly debating, conversing with everybody and anybody. That was what he did. So what message does this White House have now to all Americans who feel like they are too afraid to express their beliefs, their values, their morals in the wake of such horrific violence?
I think the president has answered this, and I will leave it to his response, Monica, where he so beautifully said, we have to keep fighting. We have to keep speaking up. We have to keep speaking our mind. I know that's what Charlie would want us to do. And we have a right to free speech in this country. The president supports it. It is protected by our beautiful Constitution. And Americans should not cower in fear. They should rise up in courage to continue speaking the truth.
And to end on a lighter note, Caroline, sure. I'd love to know what your favorite memory of Charlie is.
Sure. Charlie was a great guy, and he was, of course, a very influential person in the conservative movement, in the MAGA movement. He was so helpful to the president during the campaign and to all of us who worked on that campaign, that historic campaign. I myself had many great memories going on Charlie's amazing podcast and his show He was always willing to text people with words of encouragement. In fact, my last text exchange with him was the day before he died. And he was asking for my husband and I's address to send a children's book to our son. And I think that just speaks to the type of person that he was. And I know so many of us here at the White House are going to miss him very much.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Gabe.
Carolyn, thank you. Regarding the autism announcement,
Sure.
Why now? Does the administration have new data that hasn't been published previously showing a possible link between acetaminophen and autism?
I know there's been many reports about what this announcement at 4 o'clock will be, Gabe. The president is very excited about this, so I don't want to scoop the president of the United States and our Secretary of Health and Human Services. But what I can assure you is that Robert F. Kennedy and the incredible health team that this president has put together are really viewing things in a much different lens. And they are paying attention to studies and the gold standard of science and research that many in this city for far too long have turned a blind eye to. So I think Americans are going to be enlightened and proud of what they hear later this afternoon, but I won't get ahead of the president.
And the summary of it is him just telling everybody to stop taking Tylenol. It could possibly, reportedly, supposedly cause autism in your child. And if you have already done so, you can go ahead and take the Corvin, which is supposed to, I guess, free up that brain receptor that Tylenol kind of blocks. So yeah, shout out to Lucravectin for giving you that bypass through the neuroreceptors. I mean, hey, let's not play around with our children, okay, guys? Women, I'm mainly talking to y'all since y'all the ones having the kids. Appreciate y'all, by the way. But we really talking to y'all when we're saying don't take Tylenol. If you already did, well, go ahead and get the Lucravectin for you or your child. If you're pregnant, then I guess you got to take it. If your child, if it's for your child, then hey, do what you got to do. But make sure you guys are catching up. Make sure you guys are catching up with your doctor on that note. All right, there you go.
On exactly what that announcement entails.
On a different topic, going back to the president's social media post from over the weekend regarding the DOJ and his seeming frustration that they hadn't taken action quickly enough. I want to point to something that the president said during his inaugural address. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. We will not allow that to happen. Is the president going back on his promise?
No. In fact, the president is fulfilling his promise to restore a Department of Justice that demands accountability. And it is not weaponizing the Department of Justice to demand accountability for those who weaponized the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what that looks like more than President Trump. We are not going to tolerate gaslighting from anyone in the media or from anyone on the other side who is trying to say that it's the president who is weaponizing the DOJ. It was Joe Biden and his attorney general who weaponized the DOJ. Joe Biden used this sacred American institution to go after his political opponent in the middle of an election year. And you look at people like Adam Schiff and like James Comey and like Letitia James, who the president is rightfully frustrated. He wants accountability for these corrupt fraudsters who abused their power, who abused their oath of office to target the former president and then candidate for the highest office in the land. And I think the president is reaffirmed in those frustrations and his hope for accountability by the millions and millions of people who reelected him to this office with a mandate to demand accountability. And the president has not been shy about this, Gabe. In fact, when he traveled to the Department of Justice earlier this year, all of you were there to cover it. He said, quote, "I demand a full and complete accountability for wrongs and abuses that have occurred. The American people gave a mandate to investigate and root the corruption out of our system." And that's what the president wants to see done.
Carolyn.
Ed.
Yeah, if you want to go after them for the whole Russia hoax and all that good stuff, fantastic. But right after you do that, just make sure to release the Epstein list, because that is the pinnacle of government corruption. If y'all really want to solve government corruption, in my honest opinion, like I said, my opinion, I'll just go ahead and release the Epstein list. And you can also go after Comey and them as well. But, Epstein list would be preferable.
The autism issue again, there are reams of scientific research that suggests there's no clear link between autism and acetaminophen usage. You're suggesting today they may have new information on this. A lot of it, and this entire debate, has the potential to confuse women, especially pregnant women, about what to do? What do you say to those that say what you're doing today potentially just introduces more confusion into the debate?
I think women for many years, in fact, for decades, Ed, have been confused by the rapid increase in autism in this country, in the childhood epidemic that is chronic epidemic, disease epidemic that is plaguing America's youth. Women are confused about that and they want answers to that. And that's exactly what this administration is focused on finding. And before you jump to conclusions based on reports that the White House has not even confirmed, I would encourage everyone in this room to go into the 4 o'clock announcement with some critical thinking skills and with some open ears to actually listen to what the president and his team of outsiders have to say about this. And there will be a number of things that will be announced and discussed. And I think I know as a mother myself, I speak, I believe, for many mothers across the country who really want answers to what is happening to our nation's children. So again, I won't get ahead of the president, but I think everyone in this room needs to tone down the judgment before you even hear what people are going to say. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. So two on the Holman investigation. I mean, can you
Because
just
honestly, it's like he didn't really say anything too crazy. He just said, "Yo, look, I suggest you guys stop using ibuprofen. I mean, not ibuprofen, but Tylenol. And if you do, we got something to go ahead and help you with the possible side effects of it. But you should just stop taking it all together, especially if you're a pregnant woman. I mean, well, yeah, if you're just pregnant women, because it's possibly going to cause autism in your offspring, and you don't want that. I mean, on the left or the right. Like, come on now. Wouldn't you want to give yourself the best opportunity to produce a healthy child? All right, then. Let's go ahead and just drop the Tylenol and just take it from there.
speak to, did the president ask the Justice Department to close the case? And does Holman have to return the $50,000?
Well, Mr. Holman never took the $50,000 that you're referring to. So you.
Oh, and shout out Mr. Doc Hill. He says, where are all the mods? It's getting hot in here with some of these lefties losing it. Yeah, I know. I already know. And shout out Mr. Doc Hill. Oh yeah, I did hear about this as well. Tom Homan allegedly being bribed for like $50,000 to give people top positions in the government. I'm just like, bro, come on now. 50,000 though. I mean, honestly, as soon as I heard like 50,000, I already knew it was cap. I'm like, if y'all said 50 million, I mean, okay, maybe, but just 50,000 though. Come on, man.
$50,000.
Well, Mr. Holman never took the $50,000 that you're referring to. So you should get your facts straight. Number one. Number two, this was another example of the weaponization of the Biden Department of Justice against one of President Trump's strongest and most vocal supporters in the midst of a presidential campaign. You had FBI agents going undercover to try and entrap one of the president's top allies and supporters, someone who they knew very well would be taking a government position months later. Mr. Holman did absolutely nothing wrong. And even the president's Department of Justice, even Kash Patel's FBI looked into this just to make sure. They had a number of different prosecutors and FBI agents who looked into this. They found zero evidence of illegal activity or criminal wrongdoing in the White House.
Yeah, they did investigation, but they found nothing. And now because because they discovered that the investigation took place, they're kind of just running with it as if there's any validity to it. When, like I said, it was just an investigation that they found no substance on, no proof that this man was taking bribes.
And the president stand by Tom Homan 100% because he did absolutely nothing wrong. And he is a brave public servant who has done a phenomenal job in helping the president shut down the border. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions on far-left violence.
Sure.
The first one, the president said yesterday that the bullet hit Charlie, but it was aimed at every one of us. Do you and your colleagues have a heightened sense of fear following this shooting and this far-left violence we're seeing across the country?
I certainly think there's a heightened sense of awareness by conservatives across the country, by all of us here at the White House. Again, as I said to Monica, many of us were personal friends with Charlie and had involvement with Turning Point before we came and served our government in this way. So certainly it's a very shocking incident. And I think, it's very unfortunate that those of us who work in this movement have to think about violence just for speaking our minds and for supporting President Trump.
And as a follow-up on that, I asked the president last night on Air Force One about this pattern of transgender violence we're seeing. Charlie's killer lived with his boyfriend who identifies as transgender, and then we had the Annunciation shooting.
And I did something a bit grimy. Well, one of my past streams that, I didn't want to do it, but people do ignore the crimes that transgender, they do ignore transgender crimes. It is kind of funny how they just sweep them under a rug and you kind of got to put it in their face. Like, well, this article right here, right? Article, but this posting of articles right here. Like, you can literally look these stories up right now and you'll find them. Transgender suspect threatens to rape Christian girls, inject HIV in people wearing crosses, copycat Nashville shooting feds. Male inmate convicted of raping female at Rikers Island's women's facility. And let's see here. Male rapist who identifies as a female transferred to women's jail, assaults females. What y'all think was going to happen? Oh, and this is 8 pages long. I can go down for 8 pages straight of transgender crimes. 8 pages straight. So you can't just tell me that, there's no transgender violence. Yeah, there is, but it's not all of them. I'm not going to sit here and try to demonize these people, but please don't gaslight us and say that they don't cause no problems at all.
Shooting all of these incidents. The president said that we're looking into transgender violence. Does that mean the FBI is looking into it? And can you give any more clarity on how the administration is viewing this uptick in specifically transgender violence?
It's definitely something worth looking into. And I think anyone who denies that at this point is being willfully ignorant. And the administration is taking it seriously, all causes of violence and why these people would be driven to such evil and such hatred. And there's probably many answers to that question, but the administration is really focused on all of them. For individual investigations and cases, of course, the FBI and the Department of Justice are leading those. But as for this overall violence and domestic terrorism that we're seeing, the White House and the president's policy team will be leading the charge. And that really begins with designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. And I can assure you there will be additional actions to come.
Sure, in the pink. Thanks, Caroline. Liz Landers with PBS NewsHour. I just wanted to follow up quickly on something that the president had said yesterday. So we heard from Erica Kirk. She said she forgives the man who shot and killed her husband. And then right after that, we heard from the president who said, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. How does that square with bringing down the temperature of political violence in this country? And then if I could, I had a follow up on Venezuela too.
Look, the president is authentically himself. I think that's why millions of Americans across the country love him and support him, including Erica Kirk, who you saw so beautifully was on stage with the president in an unthinkable moment, in the midst of an unthinkable tragedy, and was leaning on the president for support during that time. And he was there to give it to her, as well as the vice president and many other top-ranking cabinet officials. Kayla.
Thanks, Caroline. On TikTok, the deal. How much is the deal? And if you can't give an exact number to how much the deal is, when can we expect to learn how much the deal is being valued at? And then separately, who are the members involved in the deal? Like, can you share any more details there?
So I don't have a specific number for you, nor am I going to confirm the specific individuals and entities in the deal, Kayla, but I do have several details I'm happy to run through for all of you. And the president will be signing the deal, the official deal, later this week at some point. Under the terms of this deal, TikTok will be owned by a majority of American investors and controlled by a board of directors with extensive national security and cybersecurity credentials. In partnership with the U.S. government, Oracle will serve as TikTok's trusted security provider, and they will independently monitor the safety and data security of all U.S. user data on TikTok's platform. Americans' data will be stored securely in the United States without access from China. All U.S. user data will be stored on servers operated by Oracle in the United States, protected from surveillance or interference by foreign adversaries. And the algorithm, I know this is a question.
Or you can try something new and just not take our data at all. That's always something nice you guys could do.
Many of you have had, will be secured, retrained, and operated in the United States outside of ByteDance's control. And TikTok will remain globally interoperable, meaning TikTok users in the US will be able to see videos posted by users in other countries and vice versa. While I don't have a number on the specific deal, we do expect that thanks to the president's leadership and the securement of this historic deal, businesses using TikTok will generate as much as $178 billion in economic activity within the US over the next 4 years. So this is great news, not just for the millions of American youth who use TikTok. Their data will be safe and secure with this new deal. They'll continue to use this very fun app. But it's also great news for all of the small business owners who have really been able to make a living off of the use of TikTok as well.
And if I could just get one more as it relates to China, on crop prices with farmers, as there's still no official trade deal with China, farmers are getting a little bit antsy navigating, prices being weak and not strong. How is the administration, thinking about farmers right now? Is there anything we can expect to see from the administration on, sort of bailing farmers out should prices continue to not work in their favor?
Well, the administration is completely understands the anxiety of farmers. We're very much aware of this issue. It has been a part of our discussions, the trade team's discussions with their Chinese counterparts. As for any specific actions, I don't have any news on that for you today, but I can fully assure you the entire National Economic Council in this building, as well as our Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, have been talking with the trade team about this. There's been many meetings on this, and they are on the ball, but I don't have anything specific for you today. Sure, Selena.
Thanks, Caroline. But the case against Letitia James was extensively investigated for 5 months, and President Trump's handpicked Attorney General Eric Siebert could not find any evidence that he committed a crime. So is the president saying here it doesn't matter if there's a crime, he just wants his political enemies to be charged?
Well, let me just walk you through Letitia James. Letitia James completely abused her oath of office. Letitia James was actively and openly engaged in lawfare. You talk about weaponizing the Department of Justice. What was Letitia James's campaign slogan? It was prosecute Donald Trump. She was saying she was going to prosecute Donald Trump before she even knew if Donald Trump committed a crime, which of course we did not. Those are not the words of a serious prosecutor. Those are the words of a corrupt politician who is abusing their power. She actively campaigned on that. She also led the witch hunt, the financial fraud investigation against President Trump and the Trump Organization, in an appeals court tossed that case out, a $500 million civil fraud penalty in August, which was another win for the president, and exonerated him of this witch hunt and showed that this is an individual who is corrupt and abused her oath of office. And we also have evidence of her mortgage fraud. An April report from a white-collar fraud investigator found that there was documented evidence that James engaged in a consistent pattern of financial and property disclosures that raise serious legal questions.
But why won't the president accept the conclusions of his Justice Department to not bring charges against Letitia James? In fact, you had Bondi and Blanche top DOJ leadership who were against ousting Eric Siebert, who again was picked by President Trump.
I just answered that question for you, and the president has every right to express how he feels about these people who literally campaigned on trying to put him in jail, who literally tried to ruin his life and ruin his businesses, and he wants to see accountability for those who abuse their office and abuse their power. And Letitia James absolutely did that, whether you want to admit it or not.
Is that not retribution, though?
Jeff, it's accountability.
Thanks, Caroline. 2 foreign policy questions. President Putin has offered.
I mean, shoot, 2 things can be true at once: is retribution and Well, I guess you can call it, retribution and accountability at the same damn time. I mean, what you mean? They're being held accountable, and it could also be get back at the same time.
President Trump, a 1-year extension of the most recent
Lock 'em up.
nuclear weapons. Does the White House have a reaction to that? Does the president want to accept that offer?
To be quite honest, no, really though, lock them up.
Going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
And then one separate issue, just generally, what is the president's response or reaction to the number of countries this week who are planning to or have recognized a Palestinian state?
2 great questions, Jeff. To your first question about Russia, the president is aware of this offer extended by President Putin, and I'll let him comment on it later. I think it sounds pretty good, but he wants to make some comments on that himself, and I will let him do that. As for all of these Western nations that are recognizing a Palestinian state, the president has been very clear. He disagrees with this decision. He spoke about that in the UK, standing right next to his friend, Prime Minister Starmer, and he feels this does not do anything to release the hostages, which is the primary goal right now in Gaza, does nothing to end this conflict and bring this war to a close. And frankly, he believes it's a reward to Hamas. So he believes these decisions are just more talk and not enough action from some of our friends and allies. And I think you'll hear him talk about that tomorrow at the UN. Kristen.
Thanks, Ryan. Just going back to this Letitia James story.
Well, I know this. I know what was it? I know Keir Starmer kind of pissed Trump off with recognizing Palestine as a state. I believe Canada did so, France did so, and I know I'm missing another one. Was it Australia? I mean, it sounds like something Australia would do.
What does President Trump plan to do if the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, tells him that there is not enough evidence to bring his political opponents' cases or to charge those cases?
That's a hypothetical question, Kristen. That hasn't happened at this point.
But we did see one U.S. attorney not be able to find enough evidence, and now they no longer have a job. Is that something that you would consider?
Look, the president stands with Pam Bondi 100%. He made that clear this weekend. He answered questions from all of you last night on Air Force One. He said the same, and that's how he feels at this moment in time.
And just one more thing on the Attorney General.
Go ahead,
Pam Bondi.
Caroline, would the president support designating Russia as a sponsor of terrorism if it does return kidnapped Ukrainian children? And then secondly, we just found out through questioning that Hunter Biden sat in on the discussions of his pardons. What's the White House response to that?
Unfortunately, I think it's unsurprising. And it's also very telling that one of the only pardons Joe Biden signed on his way out the door was the pardon of his son. Everything else was signed with an auto pen, but that one was clearly his own signature. To your first question about Russia, I have no news to share with you on that.
Well, that's touching. I mean, that's touching. You know, everybody else get the auto pen. You give your son the special touch. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem, though, what Biden did. Blanket pardons for the January 6th committee, Anthony Fauci, and his son. And that's the problem. When you give people blanket pardons, it does make them look kind of suspicious. I'm being honest with you. I'm like, wow, why couldn't you just let an investigation happen and let them defend themselves? What you trying to hide? Now we'll never know.
Sure, in the yellow.
According to media reports, Maduro has sent a letter to President Trump, but President Trump avoided saying whether he has read it. Did he receive it?
We have seen this letter. Frankly, I think there were a lot of lies that were repeated by Maduro in that letter, and the administration's position on Venezuela has not changed. We view the Maduro regime as illegitimate, and the president has clearly shown that he's willing to use.
It's crazy how the evolution of Maduro happened. It went from him being illegitimate because of election fraud now to him working with the cartel and transporting drugs and gang members into the U.S. It's like, damn, that's quite the elevation. So, but I mean, hopefully things don't get too bad with Venezuela, because apparently Maduro says he's about to prepare or start arming citizens to fight off U.S. naval ships or to fight the U.S. just in case we try to hop over there onto Venezuela. And, you know, to be quite honest, I mean, if we did, what could they honestly do about it? But I don't think we're going to do that. We're just going to keep up the naval blockade and just, you know, pretty much squeeze them dry, or at least squeeze the cartel dry.
Any and all means necessary to stop the illegal trafficking of deadly drugs from the Venezuelan regime into the United States of America.
Context of the letter?
Gilbertson, go ahead. Oh, you and then go ahead. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Whitline with Borderhawk News. The admin has openly discussed taking legal action against officials in sanctuary jurisdictions. Just this last weekend, we saw Mayor of Evanston, Daniel Bliss, rioting and protesting outside the ICE facility near Chicago. Are there plans to start arresting sanctuary mayors or governors going forwards?
Unless they commit a crime, I don't see them being arrested. But if they are violating federal law, if they are violating state law, then of course they should be arrested by state and local law enforcement. If they're violating federal law, then they can expect the consequences of that behavior. Nick.
Thank you, Caroline. Would the president like to see Congress pass a national holiday honoring Charlie Kirk annually?
That's an interesting question. I'm sure he wouldn't oppose such a thing. But you can pose that to him yourself next time you get the chance.
Sure thing. And to follow up too, I know the president is honoring Charlie with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Is there anything else that we don't know of in the works to honor Charlie?
Not at this time, but we do look forward to that Medal of Freedom ceremony very soon. Daniel.
Thanks, Caroline. This past Friday, Adam Schiff, Tim Kaine, they introduced a resolution on Capitol Hill aimed at stopping the successful kinetic strikes against narco-terrorists in the Caribbean Sea. What does a move like this, what type of message does it send to families, specifically families who have suffered at the hands of deadly narco drugs like these?
I definitely think it sends the wrong message. We wish that Democrats would get on board with a very simple idea of ending drug trafficking and securing our homeland. And I saw a report this morning that the Dominican Republic actually helped us seize a boat that was on its way from Venezuela to the United States of America.
And I'm just gonna, this just sets a wild speculation, or I mean, yeah, wild speculation. But it does seem like, a lot of these high drug areas where these drug routes run through do happen to be, Democratic ran cities like Chicago. I mean, shoot, you can name other ones as well. But it does seem like drug trade pops off in these areas. So, hold on here. Actually,
securing our homeland. And I saw
So if Dems are so the problem is that Dems, it doesn't seem like they honestly care about the drug problem or the gun problem, because think about it, they let it proliferate in their own cities. And that's absolutely crazy. But it does go to show that, yeah, well, why would you think they'd want to stop the drug and gun problems at the border when they don't even want to stop it in their own cities? Like, let's be honest here.
Report this morning that the Dominican Republic actually helped us seize a boat that was on its way from Venezuela to the United States of America with lots of deadly drugs on board. And so if you actually hear from Caribbean nations in the region, they are thankful and grateful for the administration's efforts, and they're working alongside us to end this plague of drug trafficking through their seas. Sure, Karen.
Over the weekend, Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries sent a letter to the White House asking for a meeting with the president to talk about government funding. Has the White House responded to that letter, and will the president sit down with them to talk about this, given that deadline is now 8 days away?
Discussions are ongoing with both Republican and Democratic members of Capitol Hill. I don't have any meetings or any scheduling updates for you today, but what I will share is that what this White House wants and what Republicans want, we want a clean funding extension to keep the government open. That's all we're advocating for.
Yep, and we got 7 days to get it done, or the government's going to shut down, and and both sides are going to blame each other. I mean, let's just be quite honest. Like, the Republicans going to blame the Dems are going to blame the Republicans, and the American people are just going to suffer while these two bitch at each other. So these two low-key need to get their ish together and, get that bill signed. And then if the Dems want to go ahead and cry about it, I mean, bro, make your case in the midterms. Hopefully you guys can do something with that argument and maybe win yourself some votes.
Simple, clean budget extension, a straightforward, responsible solution to keep the government open to November 21st and allow the full year appropriations process to move forward. And I will add, this is the same budget that the Democrats approved 6 months ago, just adjusted for inflation. And unfortunately, all of a sudden now, they want to shut down the government. And if the government is shut down, it's only going to, it will be the fault of the Democrats, and it will only hurt the most vulnerable in our country, our seniors, our veterans, our military families, and increasing security for members of Congress.
Here's the thing, though, Chuck Schumer, I mean, let's be real. I think Dana Bash did a pretty good interview with Chuck Schumer, and she was like, so are you going to go ahead and, if you don't get what you want, are you going to shut down the government? He didn't answer the question. So what I gathered from that was that he's going to do the same thing. He's going to grandstand. He's going to pretend to hold strong, pretend like he got strong knees, but really they're jelly. And he's going to capitulate at the last second. He's going to bend the knee to Donald Trump. He's going to kiss the golden ring. He's going to sign, and he's going to vote yes again. And the Dems are going to be pissed off again.
Congress, which is something this White House and the administration supports. And if you look back at the statements made by Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the past, they too have advocated against a shutdown and for keeping the government open. Democrat Chuck Schumer himself said a shutdown would mean chaos and pain and needless heartache for the American people. He said once, avoiding a shutdown is very good news for the country, for our veterans, for parents and children, for farmers, and for small businesses. Hakeem Jeffries also said it's about the harm. Families will be hurt if there is a government shutdown. Farmers will be hurt. Holiday travel will be impacted. Democrats clearly know what the right thing to do is here. It's to join with Republicans to pass this clean funding extension. That's what the White House and the president wants. And with that, we will see you all at 4 o'clock for this big announcement later on. Thank you.
So what will the Democrats do? It's like, man, it's kind of one of those moments where you're just like, Dems? I mean, bro, can we just call it truce for like 7 days, man? This one time, can we just call it truce? And yeah, y'all just do what's right for the American people instead of just, I don't know, sit there in your soapbox, Can you just do what's right for the American people? Like, come on, man. It don't gotta be like this. But we'll see in 7 days what comes to be. All right, let's get into the next video.
On the same day, tens of thousands of patriotic Americans mourn the loss of Charlie Kirk. CNN chose to give a megaphone to one of the most divisive lawmakers in the country to smear his legacy. Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett injected race and scolded her colleagues for not opposing a resolution honoring Kirk's legacy, a resolution that passed just last week with 58 Democrats voting against it, 38 voting present.
One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there.
Why you gotta make it about race is crazy, but okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate.
No, he never targeted people of color. I mean, if calling out black crime statistics and black on black crime is calling out people of color, then I mean, like, come on now. What? Telling us the truth is wrong? Like, what? You don't want to hear the truth no more? That how we need to fix our own community and not stop blaming white people when the biggest threat to black life is, well, another black person? I mean, what's racist about that? I mean, it hurts our. I mean, it may hurt our feelings, but it is what it is. It's something we need to work on. And if people are going to keep rubbing it in our faces, then maybe we just need to stop complaining and get to work.
That even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us.
So much wrong with that statement. Well, speaking of divisive rhetoric, Disney has just announced that Jimmy Kimmel will be returning to his show tomorrow night after he falsely claimed that the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk was MAGA. FCC Chair Brendan Carr speaking at an event earlier before the announcement and denying that there was any government censorship.
Look, again, I think this comes back to where we started, which was a lot of the distortion that's out there. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is in the situation that he's in because of his ratings. Not because of anything that's happened at the federal government level.
Facts.
Jesse, Jimmy's back.
That's one thing they don't really want to admit. For some reason, they turned Jimmy Kimmel into like a censorship martyr when it's like, no. He won, it was his ratings. 2, well, he can get hit by the FCC with news distortion. When you go out there and you say that the person who shot Charlie Kirk was most definitely a MAGA supporter, that's what he said. And he said that MAGA was trying to push him off on the left when no, he kind of confirmed that he was on the left. Actually, his friends also confirmed that he was in the left. I mean, really, in my eyes, my opinion, him having a transgender boyfriend was honestly confirming that he was on the left. So it is what it is on that note. But yes, if you go out there and say something like that, that is called distortion of news, which is a violation that the FCC can hit you under. So remember that part.
Well, he shouldn't have been in that position anyway. You can't act like Maddow when you're being paid to be Johnny Carson. This guy is lying about crimes. He's framing MAGA as assassins. He's supposed to be interviewing celebrities about their movies and telling jokes and dropping televisions out of the second floor window. They're not paying him to do this. He could do this on cable, but this is a late night talk show. You're supposed to be funny and make jokes, and then everybody goes to bed. I understand why he is coming back. He will probably read something that the lawyers wrote for him and act trite.
And this is what a lot of Dems don't know as well. Let me just fill you in on this part of the story. Kimmel got suspended not because of Trump, not because of the FCC chair, but because of Kimmel. Now, the ABC affiliate said, look, bro, you can just come in there, issue an apology, turn down the temperature, as y'all been telling us, and apologize. And if it's gonna be all good, bro, we'll continue the show, we'll finish you out to your contract, and it's all good. But he said, no, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna double down on MAGA and F what y'all talking about. He pretty much told his boss to go kick rocks, and he got suspended. I mean, that just makes perfect sense. And let's be real, most of us would have got fired. Most of us.
For a second. Some of us have been there. And then he will carry on and be the exact same Jimmy Kimmel that we're used to. But how much longer are we going to get Jimmy Kimmel? His deal's up in January. Is Disney going to put up with this guy? He's in second place. He's a headache. He's losing cash. It's a dying format, late night. I just don't see him going on that much longer, and that's fine.
No, to be honest, I don't think it's a dying format. I just think that some of these guys aren't really too funny, and then when you're just overly beating on Trump, it just gets old. That's the problem. I mean, like, you got to have new jokes, especially if you want to maintain a comedy show. It's like you just can't bash one party the entire time. Like, even I sit up here and I'll joke about Republicans and everything. I don't just sit here and just dog like the libs all day. It gets boring. We gotta sit here and make fun of our own side as well, and other positions. So yeah, it gets a little boring to listen to the same jokes over and over again, or the same subject being Trump and MAGA. It's like, come on now. And then here's the problem. I mean, don't you think he's losing mass ratings in all these counties that are red? You might want to think about that. Like, go ahead and look at that election map again and tell me, do you think it's like smart to be pushing anti-MAGA? Like, I don't know. And here's the thing, you can say whatever you want. If that's what you want to do, cool. But look at that election map and then think of that as your viewers. Are you sure it's okay to have that type of rhetoric? Like, and think you're just going to maintain viewership?
You know what, Tyrus? I mean, this isn't going to change the fact that his ratings were plummeting. We've put those up on the screen before. I'm beginning to wonder, I mean, sinister conspiracy theory here. Like, was this all a ratings ploy to get everyone to watch him again?
No, I think this is great for, what would you rather be canceled for? Sucking at your job, or the mean president took your job away? So for them, he's getting to come back. So you got to take the president out of it now, because now he's back. So there should be a huge rating spike. Everyone should be excited. And Jesse, you're wrong. You typically finishes third. Then it's Colbert. And then
I wasn't counting Greg.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
no, I'm talking networks. Networks, right?
Okay.
He's beating them.
To be fair,
he's not even on a network.
I just want to say, to be fair.
Thanks to you.
Yeah. Anchor, if there ever was one. But it's not about me right now. But the point is, like, of course he's not going to change because he doesn't have a reason to change. His whole thing was the best thing for him was to stay gone, because he would have been able to say for the rest of his days that the evil Trump MAGA got me.
Yeah,
and
he could have maintained being a martyr, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't gonna let him do it, because we all know the real story. It's like, dog, they told you to apologize, you told him to F off, that's why you really got suspended. And then let's be real, ABC's already got like 2 strikes already for unfair political coverage during the election. And the whole grape is saying that Trump was liable for grape. They got sued $15 million for that, but they could have also got fined by the FCC. So are you sure you want to go out here on this limb and do this? Are you sure you don't want to listen to your boss? And like I said, he said, F him, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to double down on MAGA. And they said, okay, buddy, go sit at home. And they let him back. He's back on. But now he loses the whole, a martyr of free speech. He kind of loses that.
Pundits and would come out and say free speech is being taken away, and now, like, nope, here's your ball back, you got a slap on the wrist, act right. So then the next time he gets canceled, and it probably will be before January, it's going to be about the ratings, and you won't be able to blame the president. I'm glad this happened. You won't be able to blame the FCC. You'll be able to blame Jimmy Kimmel for not being funny.
Dana, returning to Jasmine Crockett for a moment, because we can't let that go unaddressed. She said only 2 Caucasians voted against this resolution. Mm-hmm. No one should have voted against this resolution. And I have here the text of it, condemning the assassin, commending law enforcement, extending condolences. I mean, Mike Johnson mentioned he intentionally kept this tight so that everyone could agree and come together, but she could not.
Well, I mean, we could go through and count how many people on the left would vote to censure Ilhan Omar. I mean, if we want, we can keep score. We can do that. I would counter her argument with this. Is obviously, I am not a black man. But this morning on America's Newsroom, I interviewed 2 young men. One works as a Talking Points USA. Talking Point.
That was a good interview.
Turning Point USA contributor, and the other is at Campus Reform. Both young black men who said that Turning Point USA gave them an opportunity to do what they wanted to do on campus, but it was Charlie who gave them the inspiration and the confidence to do it. So Talking Point, golly, what's wrong with me? I am back from vacation. Turning Point said, okay, here's the venue, here's the organizational skills, here's what you need to know in order to put on an event. But it was Charlie himself who said, I'll show you the way and how to articulate with ideas. And they took it very, very seriously. So I think that those 2 young black men I interviewed today who are heartbroken, that they would take a lot of issue with what she had to say.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm sorry, real quick. The reason why you
Nah, I
keep
don't
saying
care.
talking points, because that's all she was doing, was making talking points. And what bothers me about the media, they never say how so or examples of. Because
Yeah, they
that's a pretty
don't.
strong statement.
I know, because if you ask her how so, or oh yeah, so how so, or what was can you name what was the speaking engagement where you heard this racist rhetoric at? They won't be able to tell you. Actually, if you ask anybody who's hating on Kirk, who hates Kirk, all right, why do you hate him? What did he say? They're probably going to point to like a 30-second clip out of an hour and 30-minute speaking engagement. Like, dog, do y'all not see what y'all do to yourselves? I mean, y'all can at least get, I don't know, maybe like the full 5 to 9 minute debate, but y'all won't even do that. So the problem is that you ask a lot of these people, all right, so where are you getting that from? They're probably going to point to a 30 to 40-second clip and end up making themselves look stupid. Like if I ask Jasmine Crockett or AOC, all right, well, where did you get that from? Why do you think he's a racist? Because he's actually debated against racists, like literally cooked one in his crowd for being a white supremacist. So, I mean, if it was ever the time to show that he was a racist white supremacist, it'd have been then. And he kind of went against the guy. So let's be real. You guys aren't going off of full context conversation. You're going off 30, 40-second clips that triggered you. And now you think, well, Charlie Kirk's a racist or a fascist or, well, whatever bad ad hominem attack you want to put on him.
To make about somebody, but they never seem to have an actual factual situation of Charlie saying any of these things. They'll take assert here, a thing here. He'll call it out. He keeps it real. And sometimes keeping it real isn't comfortable.
It was like right before I left when the New York Times took that something that he said and that he was quoting someone else, but the New York Times just clipped it and made it look like he was anti-Semitic. It was crazy. And then they had to correct it. But of course, the correction is this big. The headline was this big.
Gets no attention.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. The perfect example right here. I appreciate you, Gene. You're the perfect example. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Yes. And he only said that because of DEI. He said if DEI didn't exist, then he would feel more trusted if he's seen a black pilot. So it's like, it's like this. Because of affirmative action, when you see a black student on Harvard, did she get in here because she had good test scores, or did Harvard need another black face? Like, yes, the same thing as that. So DEI did black people an injustice because it made people doubt our skills. If there was no DEI or ever affirmative action, I mean, Charlie Kirk could never make that stance. And if you listen to the full conversation in context and actually watch the show, or at least like a 10-minute clip, y'all have probably got the full context just off 10 minutes. You don't even got to tune into the whole hour, 30-minute show. You'd have understood that, my friend. But thank you for being a great example.
You know, Harold, the vote to condemn the Minnesota killings of the Democratic local lawmakers was 424-0. Every Republican voted to condemn that. Why could 55% of the Democratic caucus not vote to condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
I don't know. They should have voted that way. I said on the outset, I'm surprised for you. You lay out a great example of the way I've read you read the resolution. You laid out the example of the Minnesota lawmakers. This was an assassination because the guy was speaking his mind and speaking his political views. There's no place for that in our society. There's no place for that in America. There's no place for that in our political tradition. And I just hope that we never, ever have to have another vote like this in the Congress. But if there is, I hope that people can rise above whatever the differences may be. I didn't agree with Charlie on a lot of things. There were things that he said that I found disagreeable, but what I found most remarkable about him is that he was willing to debate openly, freely. And his real objective was to try to persuade you that he was right. Just one thing on Jimmy Kimmel. I'm happy that he's back, not because I agree with everything he says, or I even watch his show, or I even find him funny. What I don't like is when government says that you can't have someone on air because we don't like it. That's what happens in state-run control media. That's what happens in countries that have.
No, actually, honestly, the viewers were pretty much saying that. And the ABC affiliates were saying that. The one who broadcast their show, who broadcasts his show, they're the ones who said that. Not Trump. Trump didn't get nothing done, and neither the FCC. They didn't move a finger. It was the ABC affiliates and Disney. I mean, if y'all want to get mad at them, get mad at the corporate elitists y'all say y'all hate so much, all right?
That including China and Russia in North Korea.
The Biden administration.
If what markets decide if people should be on air, the reason
Yeah, the markets did decide. His ratings are poor. So, I mean, that's the best market decider in television. Like, hey, you got poor ratings, my man. You're only doing like 1 million views a show, and you're Jimmy Kimmel, and we're paying you like 16 million. I damn near want for a view $1 a view. If I'm paying you 16 million, I want 16 million views. God damn it. Is that too much to ask for? But I'm only getting 1 million. But yes, you can look that up. The man was only getting 1 million views a show.
The guy at our network, My Pal, is number one because people watch him. And if the network wants to lose money, they have every right to do that. What I don't and will never agree with, and I'm glad to be joined by Ted Cruz and Rand Paul on this, is for the FCC commissioner and chair, whomever it might work for, saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way. So I'm glad that he's back because it's a win for free speech. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't even find his jokes altogether to be that funny a lot of the time. But that shouldn't be for the government or the president or any regulator to decide.
The government didn't decide it because he's back tomorrow. So quite clearly, the government didn't force this.
But Kaylee, when the president of the United
That's
States,
what I'm saying. Like, he's coming back tomorrow. So that is the proof that the government didn't force it. Or else you guys will be waiting on Trump or the SEC chair to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to let Kimmel back on. They didn't even come out and say that they put him off. That's the crazy part. I do not like the argument of how y'all trying to make him a free speech martyr when literally this man got himself suspended. Suspended, not fired, but suspended. Like, man, where's the, you know what? Never mind. I'm asking for accountability for you guys, and I got to learn my lesson. Y'all just do not want to take it. But shout out to my man Monty, man. How's it going?
So it's going great. I just got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So while Sid was just rage baiting so hard the other day that this is the government getting in the way and yada yada yada, and the FCC threatened him and blah 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 blah. I'm pretty sure the threat the threat still applies, and he's back on the air. So what is it? Did ABC get threatened by the FCC, or did ABC make a business decision because he made a comment in poor taste and has shitty ratings, and now is allowing him back on the air?
Man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense how you guys are trying to say it was Trump or the FCC. I'm like, if you actually look into it,
because he'd be off permanently. If you could even give that argument credibility, he wouldn't come back on in 3 days.
Actually, if we get to give the argument credibility, he wouldn't have been suspended. It'd just been, oh no, show canceled, it's done, it's over.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, you know what? I'm actually happy he's coming back because, like I said, it takes away that whole argument for them. But it's, like I said, his contract's going to be done. I'm pretty sure he's probably running a deficit since his contract is going to be up and he don't want to renew it. So, hey, man, enjoy your last final about $4 to $5 million and probably head into retirement or start a podcast. All right, next video.
This is Jimmy Kimmel, the host of ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live. On September 15th, just 5 days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Kimmel said the following during his opening monologue.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So what Kimmel is saying is that the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk was a pro-Trump Republican, even though it had been widely reported that he was an unaffiliated voter who didn't vote in the past 2 general elections, and that he had been deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. So what Kimmel said was not indoctrinated.
And you know what's so crazy? That was the governor of Utah that said that, Governor Cox.
With leftist ideology. So what Kimmel said was not only a lie, but to many, it was seen as inflammatory. And you might be thinking, wait, isn't this supposed to be a comedy show?
On a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House. which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years.
I mean, you know, if the Dems really had any type of, I don't know, humanity to them, they would kind of see that as a deflection from the question. Oh, I'm good. I don't really want to talk about something sad. So let's talk about something, that's keeping it off my mind. Let's talk about the little ballroom that I'm building instead of my dead friend. Like,
Right.
dog.
And then it's damned if you do, damned if you don't with the left. They're going to spin anything he does. If he had said, this is horrible, blah, 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 blah. I'm so sad, blah, 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 blah. Fucking the left should be condemned for this, blah, 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 blah. And went on with what he did at Charlie Kirk's funeral, then they would have blasted him for the same thing. Like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's gonna get blasted. He might as well just fucking say whatever's on his mind, do whatever he wants to do, because he doesn't matter what he's gonna do. He's gonna get criticized for it, and there's gonna be a concerted effort to stop him. So, fuck Jimmy Kimmel.
Man, I agree with you on that. Definitely agree with you on that one.
And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes.
Oh, and it's really distasteful to, like, I don't know, make a joke about somebody in mourning. I mean, isn't that, like, come on, like, even the Dems, y'all can agree that is really distasteful.
About 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction.
So nice that Jimmy Kimmel is making fun of someone's grieving process.
Yeah.
Who's he to judge? What a dick.
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
So just on a human level, why is Jimmy Kimmel making jokes related to a major political figure's murder? Not only is this mean and cruel, but it's really inappropriate. Look, if Jimmy Kimmel thinks that making jokes related to an assassination is okay, I mean, who are we to judge? Maybe I just don't understand comedy. Anyway, 2 days later, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr made a media appearance and suggested
Jimmy Kimmel just kind of proved, like, how much they do dehumanize this man Trump. It's like, it's like this man just can't be grieving like a normal person.
No, that's
once you get humanization of this man at a certain point.
Once you get past the idea that they don't think that we're human, they think that we're disposable pieces of garbage and deplorables and all of the things that they've called us for the past 9 years almost now, then you realize this isn't far off the mark for them. This is what they've been doing. Everybody's just been sitting idly by and letting it happen because we aren't the party of violence. They are. So,
look, guys, if you can, comedy is it's a dark joke, but in this time, it is really distasteful and not too many people are laughing, obviously.
Kimmel's words may have violated FCC guidelines.
You can't be engaging in a pattern of news distortion. We have a rule on the book that interprets a public interest standard that says news distortion is something that is prohibited. Likewise, we have a rule that addresses broadcast hoaxes.
Chairman Carr is referring to the fact that the FCC prohibits broadcasting fake information about a crime or a catastrophe if the broadcaster knows that the information is false.
And that's why I said that the FCC kind of has a weak case if they was to go after them on that one, because he can claim plausible deniability, like, oh, I didn't know, I got the news late. He could always say that. But then, Kim will kind of shoot himself in the foot with this rant that he said, like, oh, I have all these researchers, I have all these writers. Well, you don't think I researched this stuff before I say it? And I'm like, well, if you did, you read everything out there and you still came up that he's MAGA? Like, all right.
And will cause substantial public harm if aired. The FCC is prohibited by law from engaging in censorship or infringing on the First Amendment rights of the press. It is, however, illegal for broadcasters to intentionally distort the news, and the FCC may act on complaints if there is documented evidence of such behavior from persons with direct personal knowledge. In other words, the FCC can't just look at something and go, hey, ABC, your boy Kimmel is saying things that we don't like. They would need to receive complaints about it from the public and then the FCC would vote on what action to take, if any.
It appears to be clear that you could make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact, a very important matter. At the end of the day, if we do get called upon to cast a vote on this, Disney will have a chance to put in their arguments and explain it. But this is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney.
Again, Chairman Carr isn't saying anything about the FCC taking action on their own because they aren't the content police. But you could say that he was making a not so subtle call to action for the viewing public to file complaints and for the people broadcasting Kimmel to do something about it. In their reporting on the matter, The Hollywood Reporter wrote that within hours, multiple ABC station owners held calls with senior Disney leadership expressing their concern with the comments. THR
So it wasn't even the FCC. It was the viewers that called in on this man that said that was distasteful.
Yeah,
And here's the thing. That means it's mainly liberals who called in and was like, hey, yo, that's crazy. It's like, come on now. Like, that's not cool to say. Liberals, basic. Think about it, because who mainly watched this man? It would have to be mainly liberals or moderates or independents. So that his viewers turned around and said, yo, that is crazy. He said that. You guys need to do something.
Reported on Wednesday that Kimmel did not plan to apologize for his comments, but did plan to address the situation on air. So Dana Walden, co-chairman of Disney Entertainment, spoke to Kimmel about his plan and how he was going to respond to the criticism, the concerns of the affiliates, and Brendan Carr's remarks. The Wall Street Journal writes, a person close to the show said that Kimmel was planning to say that his words were being purposefully twisted by some members of the Make America Great Again movement. So not only was he not going to apologize, but he was going to double down and blame MAGA. Jimmy Kimmel is a f***ing child. Kimmel had also planned to address FCC Chairman Carr's comments on his show Wednesday night, according to some people familiar with the matter. After the conversation between Kimmel and Walden, she and other senior executives thought that the star's approach could make the situation worse. In the meantime, Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar Media Group, who operate 66 local ABC affiliates between them, both released statements.
Yeah, okay, so St. Clair was a bit much. Nexstar, they just wanted the man to apologize. St. Clair, they was pushing for this man to not only issue an apology to Charlie Kirk and his wife personally, but to also donate to Turning Point USA.
Well, think about this, S.E.T. Think about this, S.E.T. So they have a public charter or a public license that they get for free with the intent of doing good for the public. That's the reason you get that license. Remember how I said you get free speech, you don't get a free platform? So they're getting a public license and they must do public good with that license. Slandering half the country is not public good. So to remedy that, make an apology, make a donation to the cause, and now, you kind of made your sins equal in the eyes of Sinclair.
And actually, it says it right here in the Nexstar Media Group paper. Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC affiliate market. Well,
which was Charlie Kirk Memorial.
Man.
That they would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely. Sinclair, the larger of the two groups, wrote, due to the problematic comments regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk in programming provided to its broadcast stations by ABC, Sinclair and its partners, which operate ABC stations.
Dang, so yeah, due to problematic comments regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk in programming provided to broadcast stations by ABC, St. Clair and its partners, which operate ABC stations in 30 markets in the U.S., will stop airing Jimmy Kimmel's show until further notice. Woo!
In 30 markets in the US, will stop airing Jimmy Kimmel's show until further notice. Soon after, Disney, who owns ABC, decided that Jimmy Kimmel Live would be preempted indefinitely. Now, to be clear, the FCC didn't take Kimmel off the air. It was Disney, because his comments about the Charlie Kirk situation have generated too much outrage, and there needs to be a cooling off period. Bloomberg reports that Disney wants Kimmel back on the air, but Chief Executive Bob Iger and entertainment head Dana Walden have also asked him to tone down his political rhetoric. Kimmel won't apologize, nor does he want to be muzzled or censored. He also doesn't want to put 200 employees out of work or give Trump a scalp. At this
And Kimmel, perfect example of.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Point, if Kimmel ends up making an apology, no one is going to believe that it's genuine. But if he doesn't apologize, Sinclair and Nexstar will continue to preempt the show, and then Disney will have no choice but to cancel Jimmy Kimmel Live. Womp womp.
So I think we really need to make very clear that the First Amendment does not allow us, the FCC, to tell broadcasters what they can broadcast. Personally, I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, but I understand Jimmy Kimmel is a satirist and a comedian. I saw the clip. He did not make any unfounded claims, but he did make a joke.
Huh?
One
Did not make any unfounded claims? Lady.
Now she what?
Man, well, you ain't got a lot of
It's just a delusion. It's just rage bait. That's all it is. It's just rage bait. And when it goes public and mainstream on the news, then you know you've lost your country.
Oh Lord, that is so crazy. Just said, what you mean? I didn't hear anything that was unfounded news. I'm like, what? That was the main thing. Like that was the main part, news distortion. But I guess he heard the FCC's argument. He's like, oh, well, what news distortion? Your news distortion. Well, then that means she also believes that the shooter was MAGA. She also believes in that.
that others may even find crude.
That was Anna Gomez, a Biden-appointed FCC commissioner, saying Jimmy Kimmel was making a joke, and he didn't make any unfounded claims. Gomez's term ends on July 1st, 2026, which can't come fast enough.
To recap, Kimmel made a joke on air where he suggested that the man who killed Charlie Kirk in that awful murder was a supporter of the MAGA movement. Now, that is not true. Kimmel was wrong on the facts, at least as he suggested them in the joke.
What joke?
Joke. There was no joke. That man said that point blank. The joke was him making fun of Trump's grieving process. I mean, the claim was that the shooter was MAGA. He said that outright as if it was a fact.
Or maybe I'm missing something. Let's play the Kimmel clip again.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
It's like, bro.
Joke in the room with us now, Chris? But look, there seems to be a concerted effort by the left to downplay the severity of what Kimmel said. You can't go after him for making a joke. Here's Tim Miller from The Bulwark to explain why what Kimmel said was funny.
What he is saying here is that the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize the kid as anything other than one of them. The kind of the joke is about how MAGA is out there being super desperate to, try to use this.
This guy was on Kamala Harris's campaign, and I swear to God, for the entire campaign, this guy looked like a wreck. The man looked like a complete wreck the entire campaign. And then also, it's really hard to listen to a man with pearls around his neck. I'm just going to be quite honest with you.
Their political advantage.
Oh, wow. I get it now. Thanks, Tim.
What we're seeing just in the last 48 hours, even before, but really in the last 48 hours, is the single biggest attack on free speech by state actors I've ever seen in my life, unfolding before our eyes.
Okay. But Jimmy Kimmel's so-called joke was not about criticizing the government. Kimmel was making a statement that was blatantly false. And there are rules set by Congress about lying on public airwaves.
Look, I'm honestly, this is very concerning. I think first, Jimmy Kimmel is a late night host. He's a comedian. We have
on public airways.
Yes, on public airways. I mean, if he did this on YouTube, Instagram, not on public airways, he'd have been cool. It'd been all good. But no, since he's on public airways, he's at the mercy of the affiliates.
Folks, and he's on ABC. He's on ABC at that, which claims to be a news company.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's on the late night slot of that news company's fucking programming. He is still on a news company, which gets special protections because they're supposed to tell the truth.
Ain't that the truth?
And when you're not saying this isn't a joke, then nothing about that was humorous. Jokes are funny because they're true. When things aren't true, you just look at someone and be like, "Huh?"
He's like, yeah, the joke don't make sense.
Right to say what's on their minds, and certainly in a monologue on a late night show.
He's a comedian. He should be able to say what he wants on late night TV, right? No, he doesn't have that right. That's the whole point. And as a congressman, Robert Garcia should know that Congress passed the Communications Act of 1934, which regulates what you can and can't say. Why do you think the FCC exists?
It is outrageous. It's a page right out of Xi's playbook. This is just despicable, disgusting, and against.
I mean, because back in the day, the news was like the Wild Wild West. Like, to be quite honest with you, and there was a whole lot of salacious material. I mean, people were literally writing hit pieces about each other all over. But, you know, SEC came along and people had to stop saying salacious things and had to come with the facts.
Democratic values. Trump and his allies seem to want to shut down speech that they don't like to hear. That is not what democracies do. That is what autocracies do. And it doesn't
good
matter
thing we're
whether
not
you
in a
agree with Kimmel
democracy.
or not. He has the right to free speech.
2.5 years earlier.
Last night, Fox News aired one of the most shameful hours we have ever seen in the entire history of cable television. Rupert Murdoch, who has admitted they were lies and said he regretted it, has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth.
And did Tucker Carlson actually get fired? Yes. Did Tucker Carlson get suspended? No. So where was y'all criticism during that? That's what I'm saying. That's why we're not really hearing you guys about this stuff, because it's like, dog, y'all literally sat here and watched Tucker Carlson get fired for what you guys are complaining about. Kimmel was not fired. Kimmel was not fired. He was suspended for his own rhetoric. This man was actually fired because the government called upon it.
And from letting him go on again and again and again. And he's going to come back tonight with another segment.
Tucker Carlson.
Fox News should tell him not to. Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, tell Carlson not to run a second segment.
Dang, I mean, are we yelling Jimmy Kimmel's name in Congress, talking about he should be, you know, taken off the air and all that good stuff? Show should be canceled.
No, rules TV, not for me.
Exactly.
Just like they don't care about the Constitution. They only care about the Constitution because we care about the Constitution, and they can score some political points that way. They don't care about violating anybody's rights when it comes to, I don't know, COVID.
I mean, let's be real. Y'all didn't care about free speech back then.
Nah.
So, and here's the thing. This ain't a free speech violation. This is not a free speech violation with Kimmel, but it definitely was a free speech violation back then with Tucker. Because, I mean, you're saying the man's name in Congress. I mean, let's be real. What's not putting more pressure than that? I mean, this man went on a TV show and said, you know what? I might do something. This man's over here in front of Congress going like y'all need to do something. Which one's worse?
Lies. You know it's a lie.
So when Tucker Carlson lies, it's bad. But when Jimmy Kimmel lies, he can say what he wants because free speech. Got it. So 1 month after Chuck Schumer called for Fox News to take Tucker Carlson off the air, Fox News terminated Tucker's contract. Where was the media outrage over the trampling of Tucker's free speech?
Tucker good now, man. He's good. He's blowing up on YouTube. He's doing all right. He done moved on to better things.
Well, here's Jimmy Kimmel on the matter.
Fox News has severed bow ties with Tucker Carlson. After all these years, they are parting ways, which means he was fired. I mean, that's really what parting ways means. Tucker couldn't be reached for comment. He's already on a plane to Moscow to meet with his manager. But
You know what? That was actually kind of funny.
I mean, what an absolutely delightful shock this is.
So when Tucker is taken off the air, it's time for a celebration.
I mean, according to the left, guys, we all work for Russia. I mean, during the election, you know how much people kept saying, oh, this is a Russia-sponsored chat. Oh, Russia pays for this. I'm like, okay, man, okay.
But when Jimmy Kimmel is taken off the air, it's trampling on free speech. And remember when Jimmy Kimmel celebrated Donald Trump, a sitting president, being banned from all social media?
It's been unusually quiet over the past few days because Trump has been banned from Twitter permanently. Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave.
Wow.
Who says female comedians aren't funny?
Not only did Trump get banned from Twitter, Google, Apple, and Amazon removed the Parler app.
Celebrating this man being deplatformed, pretty much violating his free speech, and you're celebrating it. But you want everybody to champion behind you for free speech?
Not to mention, all of that shit was done under the behest of the FBI.
Ooh, and that's what makes it 10 times worse. It's just like, bro, it's just terrible. Like, the fact that they even want to take this argument is just like, y'all need to take a seat. Like, if this is the case, then y'all are being cowards under the Democrats, and now you want to stand up when Trump's doing it. It's crazy.
Oh,
but here's the thing, though, Trump is not even doing it.
And then right on the message for Democrats, right after they did this, the left went and shot up ABC.
I mean, well, oh yeah, they start going out and protest.
No, they literally did a drive-by shooting on ABC.
Whoa. Oh, okay. I did not know that one. Yeah. Because I knew they were protesting for Kimmel outside of ABC, but okay.
From their platforms. Parler is where all the right-wingers gather to post QAnon nonsense and misspell the word parlor.
Yep. Jimmy Kimmel celebrated the suspension of the Parler app, which affected the free speech of millions of Americans. Jimmy Kimmel didn't give a damn about your free speech, but they want you to care about whether he's on late night TV or not. Yeah, right.
And no one was more upset about Parler going away than a sneaky little congressman named Devin.
But it's more than just the financial aspect of that. Republicans have no way to communicate. I have 3 million followers on Parler. Tonight, I will no longer be able to communicate with those people.
I mean, other than being on Fox News right now. Trumpers are complaining bitterly that they're being silenced. In fact, they won't shut up about being silenced. On their 3 propaganda TV networks, on 1,000 conservative radio shows, all over the internet, they are screaming about being silenced. They won't be silent about being silenced.
So by that reasoning, Jimmy Kimmel isn't being silenced. He can always make an appearance on CNN or MS Now or The View or even Don Lemon's TikTok.
This is really scary. The First Amendment is over.
Anyway, that's it for now. Please.
I mean, bro, Don Lemon is like such a bad faith debater. I mean, oh my God. Terrible. But hey, let's get right into this with Tom Homan pretty much. Well, what was he going off about? Oh, yes, Newsom's ice mask ban. Yeah, that's hilarious. So Newsom pretty much banning.
So they have no authority to do that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's completely unconstitutional.
They have absolutely no oversight or authority over any federal agency. They can fucking come in there and do whatever the fuck they want.
It's just kind of funny that he thought that he had that much pull. Oh, I'm going to ban masks on ice. I mean,
it's just placating. That's all they're doing is they push their radical agenda. They push their hate.
Newsom. Okay, if you're Newsom, I see you. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel it. My man trying to put down that authoritarian boot, man. He trying to get his dictator on, Monty. I think we should just let him rock. Like, just let him rock, bro. Why? Because at least we could point to the Dems and be like, look, see, fascism. Y'all love it. I mean, the man did pretty much telling ICE officers what they can and can't wear as if he got authority like that.
He has no authority. The fucking federal government trumps any state law, period. It's in the fucking Constitution. And a Homeland Security agent can fucking wear whatever the fuck they want, wherever the fuck they want, as long as they identify themselves as a Homeland Security agent. See how that works?
Yeah, I know, right? The order of things.
Here to discuss as White House borders are Tom Homan.
All right, Tom, what's your message to not having masks, Gavin Newsom, tonight?
Well, good luck with that. You know, federal law always trumps state law and local law. And he asked the question, what are they afraid of? They're afraid of people like him, politicians who want to compare ICE to the Nazis. He's the one with a hateful rhetoric causing all these threats. He's one of the reasons why there's a 1,000% increase in threats against ICE officers. So ICE officers continue what they're doing. What he isn't mentioning, yeah, they wear masks.
Thing is, I foreseen this. As soon as they start calling them like the Gestapo and Nazis and terrorists and all that good stuff, I was like, oh yeah, they're about to start attacking ICE agents. Like I kind of foreseen this coming as soon as they turn up the rhetoric on them. So it does kind of seem like them. I mean, what? Y'all rhetoric is also getting ICE officers hurt as well. And let's be real, who else is speaking ill about ICE officers but y'all?
That's because they don't want to be doxxed, and their kids get doxxed, and their spouses get doxxed. But they got
Hey,
identifying
Seth.
information.
Yeah, what's up?
I will say this. I saw ICE agents with their masks on in California. So,
hey, I mean,
whatever you want to say, stupid chat members that don't know anything about anything, have never read the Constitution and never took a civics class, they're not listening to it. So what are they going to do about it? Arrest them?
You stupid.
That'll go over real well.
I know, right? It's like, come on now. You really think the Gavin Newsom got pulled like that? No.
Shows you from ICE or FBI, or DEA, or, you know, our partners who are on these operations, they're well identified. If we arrest somebody, they'll certainly be identified.
I ain't gonna lie, them dudes look like modern day knights. I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of cool.
They're going to be in the arrest report. So bottom line is, we're not going to follow to the Governor Newsom. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. He ought to be thanking ICE. He ought to be thanking President Trump for making his state safer, because every public safety threat we take off his street makes this community safer.
Well, Tom, I mean, when you think about it, I guess you guys have deported over 200,000 people now. I'm not sure the exact number. A couple of weeks ago, it was 200,000. We have 30 million or so illegals in the United States. Question for a lot of MAGA folks out there is, how do you possibly speed up this deportation? I know you're trying to hire a lot more people, but given the protests, given all the lawsuits,
I mean, at this point, you might need volunteers.
200,000 people, it's not nothing. It's a lot, but it's still a drop in the bucket compared to how many people are here.
That's true.
No, we'll have over 400,000 deportations, and you know, between CBP and ICE, and that's just since the president took office. The first 4 months of the fiscal year, we can't count them because, you know, Joe Biden wasn't doing anything. But here's what people need to understand: two things. Number one, over 1.5 million illegal aliens, close to 1.6 illegal aliens already left the country on their own. Why? Because they see what ICE is doing out there every day. One of the reasons we have the most secure border in the history of this nation is because the great work of the men and women of the Border Patrol, the great work of President.
So you said 1.6 self-deportations and like 400,000 deportations. So what? We already got like about 200 million people out of here, out of the possible 10 to 20 million. Oof.
Trump and his leadership, but also because ICE is out there, over 1,000 teams all across the country arresting people. So a lot of people have left, a lot of people aren't coming, which helps to secure that border. And that was a part of the strategy from the beginning. We said if we show consequences, we show them we're actually out there looking for them, many will leave. So we knew a large population will leave, and over 1.5 million have. But what's to come? ICE is getting 10,000 more agents. Right now, they got 5,000 deportation officers. We're tripling the size of the workforce. We're adding more detention beds. We're adding more flights and more transportation. So the numbers are going.
Even though the judges are trying to get them taken down, which is crazy.
Hey, if there's anybody in here that wants to become an ICE agent, I think it's like a $50,000 sign-on bonus right now.
I mean,
just so you know.
Yeah. Hey,
just so you know.
And if you do, man, we appreciate your service. I mean, hey, you're doing a great service getting these guys up out of here. You know, for however long that lasts, though. Because you know what's so funny about it to me is that the fact that we just let it get this bad, the fact that the Dems are complaining about ICE agents when, you know what, you wouldn't have to complain about this if you didn't let the Dems kind of run over with immigration. Like, let's be real. Or if you didn't let the Dems lie to you saying that the border was secure. I mean, if y'all didn't let the Dems lie to you, yeah.
Here's the thing, Seth. They thought they were going to do what they did in the 80s with Reagan, and it just didn't work. They thought that if they just pump a bunch of people in there and then hoot and holler about giving them all amnesty in order to put a border wall up, that they would just get a whole bunch of voters. See, that's what they hoped had happened. This is really why they did it, right? They let them all into their city so that they can say, look, they're functioning members of our cities. They should be citizens, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we'll give you that border wall if you want. Well, when the border wall got built without them doing that, then they fucking masked off like a motherfucker. They just lost their ever-loving minds. Oh, he's a racist. He's a Nazi. He's Hitler.
Oh
Blah, blah,
man,
blah, blah, blah,
actually,
blah.
you know what the worst part
Notice
about
that
it is?
trend?
Yeah, I noticed the trend is what's worse about it is that there's a propaganda that's around immigrants that how they're kind of is, oh well, we should let them replace us because of what? They're better workers. Oh, they're the geniuses that bring all the new technology when they're not. I mean, let's be honest, they got to come here and learn in our universities, which means that they got to get the knowledge from us. But
Did someone honestly say that they bring technology here? They can't even fucking speak English to explain their technology.
And guess who it was? It was an Asian professor who was also came here on H-1B visa. He was literally arguing with H-1B visa, saying that, oh well, all the genius here are brought by H-1B visas. And I'm like, bro, isn't it the biggest pile of bullshit and propaganda I've ever heard? It's pretty much, and that's what kills me because people bought it. They literally tricked you into thinking that immigrants are better than you. And they're the same as you. They're no better than you. They're the same. So trust me, when you guys sit there and say, well, oh, who's going to be your doctor? Why not you? Who's going to pick your fruits? Why not your son who want to sit all day on the game? I'm just saying we could shoot it both ways. But like, who's going to be your engineers, your scientists? Why not you? Like, why not an American? Like, bro, what are you trying to say?
Explode here right this next coming year.
Tom, I want to give you a chance to address this article that came out over the weekend, and it was on our always reliable MSNBC, and they said that you took $50,000 in cash in a bag from an undercover FBI agent to help them win government contracts in Trump's second term. The DOJ said they concluded there was no criminal wrongdoing, but nevertheless, that story is out there, and I imagine you want to respond to that.
Please.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I did nothing criminal. I did nothing illegal. And it's hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. And I'm glad the FBI and DOJ came out and said, said that nothing illegal happened and nothing, no criminal activity. You're talking about a guy who spent 34 years enforcing the law. I mean, I left a very successful business that I ran to come back and work for a government again. I'm back on a government paycheck. Not only did I sacrifice my family sacrifices, I make sacrifices every day. I got more death threats than anybody. I got a security team around me, but guess what? My kids don't. My wife don't. I mean, I haven't lived with my wife in months because I don't want her to be here right now with all the threats. So after all the sacrifices, after serving my nation all these years, they want to come out and dirty me up. And it's not going to end. There's a hit piece on me every 2 weeks. But keep coming, because you know what? Tom Homan isn't going anywhere. Tom Homan isn't shutting up. And Tom Homan's going to keep doing what he's doing because working with President Trump's the greatest honor of my life. We're meant to
be honest, dude. There's one guy they want to get rid of is Tom Homan. Because let's be real, they do want to stop Trump's whole immigration initiative. But hey, if that's one guy they want to get up out of here, is Tom Homan.
This country's safer again every day, and we're going to keep doing it.
Tom, we appreciate it. Thank you
Protect
very much
Tom
for
Homan.
joining us.
I went on Brian Kilmeade.
No, for real though, protect Tom Homan, because I mean, you never know. But all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and turn it in for tonight because, well, the sun's. I'm starting to see a little bit of sunlight, so you know what that means. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it in for tonight, man. And guys, make sure you double tap the screen, like the video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We do this every night. And I will see you guys tomorrow, man. This is Set with Set Media. And shout out to my man Monty for coming up.
We are Charlie Kirk.
Yep, we are Charlie Kirk, guys. And once again, RIP Charlie Kirk. And you guys have a good morning. God bless and have a good day. Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't. But let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it up one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is SET and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor.